All right. Welcome back to those of you who were already with us, and welcome to anyone else who's just joining. If you were with us before, you got Grounded in Your Body by Scott, teaching us how to unleash the stress of our bodies and just be present with each other here in this beautiful session. And I have the pleasure of introducing our next speaker, who is a member of the DSS, Daniel Lindenberger, whose focus is on mycelial approaches to the metacrisis, and involves community and emergent action on the bioregional scale across regeneration, resilience, and relief, with an emphasis on gameful design and support of local change makers. So Daniel, we're so happy to have you.
Yay, it's amazing to be here, and what an extraordinary coalescence of beings. I'll talk more about that maybe in a little bit. First, I'll just say, by way of caveat pre-verification, self-consciousness, that recognizing we're all coming in here from exquisite journeys that we are on that are roller coasters, and having come from a couple of weeks with a 15 and 13-year-old of wrestling with the slings and arrows of the end of school and dealing with the delights and the tragedies and what at times can feel like checklists rather than the sparking of kids, we are in a process around that. And so, rather than me trying to show you a picture of the Sistine Chapel, what I'll show you by way of screen is more a sketch. It's the sketches on a napkin that follow along with what I've been pondering this last little while. I talked a lot about Metachrysalis and about like, what am I doing and with who? And I'm not going to talk as much about that, we'll talk a bit about it at the end. It's much more about like why and what and like what are we even doing? We've been talking a lot at DSS recently about myth. And I'm going to talk about story. I'm going to tell a story about story, and I'm going to start in now. So join me in this fumbling exploration, along with some napkin scratches on the page, to journey around myth together. We are creatures of story, separated from the oceanic depths of the collective unconscious and our own understanding, intuition, and even observation by a goldfish bowl of manufactured myth composed of psychological button pushing and a pendulum swing from ideologically approved goodthink to a commercial and political tug-of-war with wide-ranging sides of cherry-picked fact and algorithmically enhanced propaganda designed to extract our attention and our resources. Just for a moment, pause while I get my screen share showing slides properly. 1 second. Thank you for bearing with me as we get next slide showing. Give yourself a moment to really breathe right now. Just shedding all of what came before this moment, putting to the side what comes next, and taking a moment to be here and celebrate the exquisiteness of this group of people gathered here. Just take a moment and do that breath and be here. Beyond the cerebral factory model myths is the true grounding of all mythology. We are each a watershed of myth, a gathering of droplets, rivulets, and streams of our own experiences, and as those converge with the stories and learnings that we're given and that we keep, all of this running over a topography of genetic and archetypal landscape that guides our sense-making. Those of us gathering here at the Design Science Studio and in Regenera are cartographers and gardeners of myth and meaning. There's a science of observation and an art of translation and a humble, sacred act of creation and sharing that's a part of it, all done in a spirit of reverence for this moment, for who has gathered and when and where and why. I'm going to share one of my myths. Think of it not as me trying to convince you of a fact or sell you a product. Think of it as me inviting you on a nature walk through part of my inner world and a chance to do some cartography. Notice where the landscape is different from yours and where it's similar. Difference and similarity is a theme. I woke up yesterday captivated by a new mantra. Nothing is fungible and everything rhymes. Nothing is fungible and everything rhymes. I may come back to that later, but for now, just notice where my inner landscape rhymes with yours and where you find the differences interesting. So let me tell you a story. In the beginning was the unknown, and I don't presume to pierce that veil, but it seems that there was a time of deeply compacted and roiling stuff, more compacted than space, hotter than heat. At this point, space-time and the fundamental forces were as yet undifferentiated, and time was a sketch in sea foam. But things were expanding and growing and solidifying as they did. This stuff took shape and form as something resembling our modern conceptions of how things are. Let there be light and space and time and matter and energy. And now the dance began in earnest, with leptons and neutrinos gyrating and freestyling to the weak forces oboe, the architectural underpinnings of gravity's pipe organ playing along with that. Electrons and leptons added to the melody and themes of the electromagnetic force, while those strange and charming quarks that were out there were drawn to a mosh pit of frantic collision by the double bass slap of the strong force. As things kept expanding, slowing, and cooling, there was space for more coherence. Things cooled to where the quarks could come together, dance in waltzes of three to create protons, neutrons, etc. And then the first instance of a central theme to this story. Sufficient coherence and predictability at one level to allow a new level to emerge, to supervene. The consistency of the subatomic dance, crazy as it is, yields the opportunity for the atomic world to come into being. And so the dance cascades into ever-increasing complexity, with hydrogen atoms yielding stellar evolution, in turn giving rise to the myriad elements we know. Stars, not as often conceived as fuel-burning engines, but as birthplaces of the periodic table. Planets not as clots of stellar debris left over from explosions, but as the nexus points for the most complex matter in the universe coming together and allowing itself to dance itself into complex compounds and eventually what we recognize as life. And then that life dancing into further complexity, interrelationship, interdependence, ecosystem, and eventually multicellular communities, us, organisms. Then further into collective organization like that of ants or bees or mycelial networks 1 billion years old, or us. A moment. We humans like straight lines and think of evolution often as a straight line towards complexity with ourselves at the pinnacle, and nothing like that seems to be the case. While the universe's evolution towards ever-increasing complexity and life and beauty is the central theme of this myth, it's an ebb and a flow with eras of catastrophic simplification and radical changes in direction. More importantly, it's a branching choose your own adventure of variations on the theme. Most branches terminate, and like a run of Conway's Life, a game with simple rules but complex outcomes, there's no telling beforehand whether a given branch will continue evolving deeper complexity or will end. It's part of the dance. Done. Humanity are not lords of the earth, nor are we isolated paragons of rationality and understanding. Far, far from it. We're one of the many parts of this evolving dance. So what does it mean to be human and to be good and to strive for something in this dance that each of us is called to? In my myth, there's a deep calling to be participatory stewards of that sacred dance of escalating complexity, beauty, and life. To the extent that humans, that each of us and our species collectively, helps create the richness and balance of stability and dynamism that helps this branch of the dance continue to be vibrant and alive, we're fulfilling the greatest purpose in the universe. So if that's the myth, and we're invited to be participatory stewards of beauty, complexity, and life, what does that look like? Whatever the answer is, it's steeped in chaos theory, emergence, and dependent arising. It involves attuning to what's present and emergent, to practicing the work of emergence, which is so radically different from the work of top-down blueprinting. And critically, it involves understanding the moment that we find ourselves in. All of us here have come in at an interesting time in the dance. a high-speed inflection point where the next move we make will not only have a critical role in defining the shape of the dance, but in a very real, immediate, personal way, we're already involved in a process which only hindsight will tell us if it was palliative care or midwifery for this branch of the dance. We're participating in the Holocene extinction, a sixth known pulse of radical reduction in organic complexity across the planet. It feels at times like we're playing Jenga with a sledgehammer, systematically wiping out wholesale the underpinnings of much of the global biosphere. Our patterns of how we think and act on the planet at present form a kind of a vortex, a set of mutually reinforcing destructive behaviors that can feel inescapable. For the last 2 years, my life has been dedicated to mycelial approaches to the metacrisis, this vortex of reinforcing patterns and its underlying nature and shape. I'd like to quickly sketch out one way of describing these patterns, what I call 8 facets of the metacrisis. Extinction edge. Humanity has gained the power to destroy itself, but not yet the wisdom to reliably prevent it. Fragile web. Our world has become so interconnected that a failure in one place can cascade across the whole system. Truth tornado. When people can no longer agree on what's true, they struggle to solve problems together and even identify what the we is. Soul split. As traditional sources of meaning and belonging weaken, many people feel increasingly isolated, anxious, and adrift, and we lose our common language and shared understanding, collective stories, and commons. Earth erosion. We're undermining the living systems that make human civilization and much of life in the current biosphere possible. Power pyramid. Wealth and influence are concentrating into fewer hands, and those hands are busy shaping all systems to maximize extraction, reducing public commons to a wasteland. Tech tsunami. Technology is transforming society faster than our cultures, institutions, ethics, and spirit can keep pace with. And leadership lapse. The challenges we face are becoming more complex just as our systems of governance are proving least able to respond and are operating in paradigms that are least likely to produce thriving. So these facets are the primary colors from which a masterpiece of metacrisis is being created. Part of my work this last few years is exploring in detail how do these components play out in the real world, region by region, community by community, self to self. I mentioned earlier both midwifery and care. Everything I see in the world confirms to me that the opportunity is also present for us to go in a profoundly different direction. Here's one portrayal of the 8 facets of an upward spiral, not a metacrisis of destruction, but a metachrysalis in which our current dysfunction is dissolved into an imaginal goo from which something unexpected and unknown can come into being, as radically different from our current system as a butterfly is to a caterpillar. Resilient Renaissance. Humanity is learning to build systems that can withstand shocks, adapt to change, and help life flourish for generations to come. Interwoven harmony. Our world is becoming so interconnected that strength, support, and resilience can flow across the whole system. Shared light. When people can seek truth together, difference becomes a source of wisdom rather than division. Cultural wholeness. As people rediscover meaning, belonging, and purpose, stronger communities and healthier lives emerge. Regenerative abundance. We're becoming stewards of living systems that grow richer, healthier, and more vibrant with our care. Equitable commons. Power and opportunity are shared more broadly, allowing everyone to help shape a future that they can thrive in. Tech symphony. Technology is evolving in partnership with human values, expanding our capacity to learn, create, and care. And adaptive stewardship. The challenges we face are becoming more complex, and our systems of leadership are learning to meet them with wisdom and agility. As with the facets of the metacrisis, I'm working with an amazing community to map and experiment with these 8 metachrysalis facets, using them to build islands of coherence and thriving where people gather for that purpose. Emily, shout out to you. I know you're out there. So, what does it look like to be a steward of complexity in this world where we find ourselves? For me, it's an adventure, a quest of self-discovery and growth through action in the world. We start by learning ourselves. And I'll ask you, sincerely, I'm asking these questions. They're the questions I ask myself and that I'll mention for you. When am I feeling at my best? When am I most joyful in the world? And that my action is most aligned with the sacred dance? What does that look like? What parts of the dance am I most drawn to? And which challenges motivate me? Which possibilities excite me? Importantly, how do I show up when I'm most in flow? Part of what I've learned is to approach things playfully. I don't mean frivolously, but engaging in the most high stakes and serious game that exists. When we seek solutions to the world's problems from our orientations of pain, anger, and fear, those ingredients get baked into the flavor of the solutions that arise. We don't discount the reality that leads to those emotions, nor the urgent need to address the suffering in the world. We feel our sorrow, we name it, we share it with one another, and we support each other through it. And we play. We engage in this sacred play, not frivolous play. And when we approach it playfully, less stressed out about whether we have the perfect solution to the world's problems, and more excited to experiment with how things can be and how we can make the better solutions we come up with, we're more excited to do that and to share them with others. As in an old school role playing game, after we come to know who our character is, we find our party. Who are the people we want to play with, and who are interested in the same sorts of games, where our commonality unites and our diversity strengthens. And then we make moves in the game, discerning what the possibilities are for interesting action, what resources our party has access to, and deciding upon a move that inspires us. Then comes the most satisfying part, actual action in the world, where we engage. We move from theory to practice and see what happens. And then we come back together and tell the story. We share the story of what we did, how it happened, the failures, the sorrows, the epic wins. As adventurers gather it in a fantasy tale, so we come together and share what we've done, what's next, and to figure out who'll play with us in our next adventure. We share those learnings and celebrations, and we choose our next adventure. So, do you want to play? I'm inviting you to bring your heroic self, your backstory, your quests, your skills, your gifts, and resources to meet each other like we do here at the Design Science Studio, like we're doing right now at Regenera, to find allies and collaborators in our parties, which can go on to adventure together and share the stories of what we do. For me, the current mode of that game is Metachrysalis. There's a card game to help foster coming together and sharing story and collaborating, an online platform to help capture some of who we are and what we're up to, but at its heart is a community. I don't mean community for the low, low price of $19.95 a month. I mean genuine people coming together and getting to know each other and building community with those that we love. Not a community of practice, but a community in action, supporting each other in the moves that we make in the world and sharing what we learn into a commons. With weekly gatherings of Metachrysalis players, those using this framework to help them in their own work as changemakers and community builders, all are free to join. There's also a slow build of players in different collaborations in groups. In the Fraser Lowland of British Columbia, there's amazing folks in DeKalb and Milwaukee, Chicago, Seattle, North Carolina. I'd love to introduce you all to the people who might be your folks and who are in your area, or maybe you'll be the seed of a group where players are gathering. I'll leave with one of my favorite quotes. I use this in most of the presentations. Games make us happy because they're hard work that we choose for ourselves. And it turns out that almost nothing makes us happier than good, hard work. That's from Jane McGonigal's Reality is Broken. It's really easy for us to forget this when we associate work with the active process of our time, energy, and lives being extracted for the gain of others. But the other work, the work we choose and that inspires us and brings us together, is a key part of this sacred dance as participatory stewards of complexity, beauty, and life. So come play together, whether in active collaboration or simply sharing about who you are and the work you're doing, connecting with the joy and appreciation of others engaged in this game. That's what I came here to share, and there's a little bit of time, perhaps. I'm happy to chat with anything that arose from people, but otherwise, I'll say, come and join us, and we'll as I'm winding up here, I'll share where people can register on the website. I'll say right away, this isn't a website like a Facebook where you sign up, you get access, and then you do a bunch of stuff. Probably what'll happen is then you have a conversation with one of us to figure out like, who are you and how do we connect and how do we sort of dig you in with the people who are maybe most related to what you're interested in. But there. And yes, Emily, I'll definitely share the script of what I said there into the Metachrysalis Discord.
Yeah, I second that. Your way of words, Daniel, is just on point, and I really appreciate the little roadmap you were able to give us with touching on these elements that we're engaged with all the time. Nothing is fungible and everything rhymes is definitely one that's gonna stick with a few of us for quite some time. I'm curious for you in this moment with this work. What's an open question that's at the forefront of your mind as you do this?
I love that. So I'm right in the midst of a big shift. There's a couple of big pieces finishing, a bit of digestion of some previous pieces happening. And part of the next part, as I explore, like, what's my next move in the game, I'm realizing that part of it is in my watershed, Yorkson Creek, which is about 20 square kilometers in Langley, British Columbia. And so I've got a lot of questions right now. I've just spent the last day doing GIS and looking at things and saying, like, okay, where exactly is this? And like, what things are within this boundary and what aren't? And thinking about who can I invite to come play? Who in my region can come play? And what's exciting, because everything is emergent, is the nature of what the next part of the journey looks like. I don't know yet, because I don't know who's at the table. And that's what really informs it always, is who comes to the table, who can they bring to the table, what gaps do we sense, and where do we go? So that's a big piece of it. And the other part is, how do we make it easier for people to be sharing those stories of who they are and what they're working on, and to share this phenomenal collective intelligence and wisdom that we all have to support each other in that work. Probably you, Geo, know a critical grant that if Emily knew about would unlock some of the work that she's doing on. Roxy has facilitative processes which, if Abius had, would transform what they're doing in the world. So how do we make it as easy as possible to share those in an open source spirit and to be sustained in that? That's a huge part of the question there for me.
Yeah, thank you. Anybody else out there have a question for Daniel while we're in this space?
I don't have a question, but I have a testimonial because he's been saying my name. That I was introduced to Daniel's work because a dear friend and collaborator said, hey, there's this guy who's doing something that you should know about. And it's radically transformed one of the most important passion projects that I'm working on. And one of, like, arguably the most important things I'll probably do in my life. And Daniel's approach to the Metachrysalis game and his facilitative way of just entering and connecting the dots is just truly magical. I can't wait to be a case study for you, Daniel, when we see through what we're doing, which includes mapping a garden, legacy planning. It's just incredible. So yeah, thank you, Daniel, for all you do.
Thank you.
Can you give us a sneak peek? Like, do you have a 30-second share about how his work transformed something for you?
So Daniel I'm a facilitator. First of all, Daniel has just facilitated me, and has facilitated me putting a very heartfelt project that I'm the sole remaining founder of into words on a public platform, such that we did just actually get a grant that we are going to be crowdfunding from our community. We're like lacking money, and we're going to be, it's just so exciting, mapping this garden, this 10-year-old garden in the urban heart of Vancouver, and in a digital 3D, similar to Topia, but like 3D realistic images that you can click around and hear the stories of our community, audio stories about how much it's meant to them. Because this garden is going to go poof, it's going to get paved over. And we're going to open source that process of mapping and legacy telling for all the other gardens that get paved over, so that we can start to actually viscerally understand and remember what we're losing when we pave the parking lot, in Joni Mitchell's words.
And just quickly, because I love your question, Rex, around like, what's the most significant problem to solve first? And I think not that it's the gnarliest problem, but it's where we start. And often, it's we start at the end of the journey where we find ourselves and move our way back. And that part is coming together and rebuilding community and commons. Being able to recognize the way, because so often, especially those of us who are like everyone here, change makers trying to make difference in the world. And so often the way we conceive that is, here's the work I have to do in the world. Oh, but I've got, like I was saying at the beginning of this, here's all of the things holding me back and the ways I'm not resourced and all these different pieces. And what we need to do is to reframe that. Every single one of the challenges we're facing is a holographic indication of the challenges the world is facing. And we start by rebuilding community and commons. Have tea, like, it sounds so stupid, but like the first problem to solve, go have tea with someone you love and talk to them about what you care most about. And then ask them and be curious and build from there. Inevitably, if you then put the energy into building from there, something cool is going to come out of that. There'll probably be wrong turns, but like that's it. Rebuilding community and commons, and then being able to draw on that community and commons to know what the next problems that are most local and relevant are, and which resources the people at that table have to bring things forward.
Thank you so much. It's really absolutely just, yeah, so lovely having you with us and doing this work. And we live in a shared watershed and we haven't met in person yet. So I look forward to when that day comes. Thank you,
I'm looking
Dan.
forward to it. And I have to just give the very quick plug to just say the work going on here in Regenera and here at Design Science Studio is so pivotal. It's not that it is the apex, because that's not the point of any of this. We don't need more apexes. What we need is rich hubs of amazing people coming together, sharing and doing the right stuff and being inspired. And so thank you all for putting this together and making that key piece of what we need, feeding the watersheds that each of us are.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I second that, Daniel. There's so many people who work so hard to make a summit like this come together. Many of them working really late nights. And I mean, I'm sitting next to one of them on screen right now, but there is such a dedicated team of people who pull together to make this happen. So we're just so grateful to be doing this work together.
And I think you said it in such a perfect way, Daniel, that it's not about being the apex of anything. It's about finding each other and working together. And it's really incredible to see the way that this approach is actively supporting so many folks that you've already been doing these pilots with, and actively supporting folks within this community. And I'm excited to weave more closely and through that knitting, be able to continue to experience the ripples of this framework and our interconnected offerings to support the healing of this planet. So it is an honor and a privilege to do this alongside you, Daniel. Thank you for everything. Amazing.
I will hand it over to you, Roxy, to take us into some of the other beautiful artwork that's been created in the digital space. This is going to be the work of Della Burford, who's taken it upon herself to create her own worlds in Topia. Two very beautiful story journeys that Roxy's going to show us a little about as we hold Della very sweetly in our hearts today.
Mm-hmm. So thank you, Ari. Della's amazing. Some of you had the opportunity to experience Della's work last day, so yesterday. And she is a longtime member of the Design Science Studio. She's an elder, an incredible artist, and she created, as Ari said, multiple worlds in Topia. And earlier, when we did our mini intro to Topia, we had also hoped to get us into Della's world, but in an effort to stay on track timing-wise, we moved it further down. So we're going to spend a little time, just for a few minutes, exploring some of the worlds that she has created. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to silence myself here. No, I'm not going to silence myself here. I'm going to make sure that you can hear the audio from her world, though, by screen sharing with audio. That's what I'm going to do. But if you are in Topia and you happen to find me there, refrain from talking to me because it'll create a crazy echo. And I want to be able to chat with y'all at the same time. So here we go. I'm going to go into her first world. I think I still want to be a dinosaur. Do I want to be a dinosaur? Maybe I want to be a butterfly. Because I see a lot of butterflies in here. I want to change colors. Okay, fabulous. Here I am. And I'm going to go in. Okay, Here we go. You can see my magical office. All right. Can you hear? Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Woo. Learning about all the different types of dodo. Magical Dodo Land combines the story, two of Della's stories, Journey to Dodo Land and Magical Earth Secrets. It is a story that is finding your special self and making your dreams come true. Listening to the birds gets you there. You meet Elemental Dodo, who used to be a dodo bird but was laughed at, and came to the land to be what he wants to be. We visit the dragon ship, the giant flower island, Night Bubble, Nature Wheels Island, where we learn to love and protect the earth. So there are many links, the published books, parts of the story that have been turned into immersive dance and theater, a 3D world. Wow. All right, so this is the link to the performance in Japan. In the interest of time, I recommend that you go back and explore that more fully. So we see here, I'm going to zoom in a little bit more. There is this beautiful dome. I believe this takes us even to, oh, this takes us to a YouTube video. Okay. I know we only have a few more minutes, so I'll refrain from that. Oh, but look, I think that one of my favorite things about Della's work is that it's all hand painted with watercolor. It's so magical. And these stories are all about how to love and protect the earth and care for each other. Della's so beautiful. Such a beautiful human. Oh, who's this? Amazing. What's this one? Oh, we already saw this one, I think. Very good. Oh, this was the film. Yes, they made a micro short film and streamed it last year. This was one of the projects that Della developed last year. It's really beautiful. Here's the gorgeous mandala. Hello, Mary. Let's see, where does this guy go? Ah, this is the Earth Action video that we saw on the first day. There's Della. Look at her. So beautiful. Okay. I feel like I'm getting close to time. No, I don't know if I'll have time to go to the other world.
You are close to time. It is time.
Dang. Okay, well, we did one. We'll have some more time to play. That was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yay. Fabulous. Okay, great. Well, thank you all for going to Dodoland, and I recommend that you go more, play, and learn the stories that these incredible characters have to share. speaking of storytelling and story weaving and story living, I love that this is right after Daniel. And yeah, with that, I will hand it back over so that I believe, Ari, you'll be introducing Izzy or Spencer?
Izzy. So in true Metachrysalis fashion, we make our way from the realm of the fully imaginal into the realm of the practical, tangible, tactile. I will be welcoming Izzy Newandowski to the stage. I'm sorry, Izzy, how do you say your last name?
Niewiadomski.
One more time?
Niewiadomski, so the W is like a V.
Newandowski. Sorry, I'm trying. Is a creative being whose work sits at the intersection of art, science, spirituality, and culture, welcoming us to further expand ourselves through immersive art installations and conceptual designs. Web of Oakland, MacArthur Bart, is a community art piece celebrating the collectively envisioned future, centering the voices of historically underserved community members and honoring Neil Wilson. Izzy, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Ari/Gio. So I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so this art installation is called Web of Oakland. It is a community art installation that is a woven virtual reality design of all of the community members' aspirations and future dreams for the community. It's also a memorial piece to Nia Wilson, and I'm going to get more into the past, present, and future elements of this art piece. So it originally started out just being focused on the future. I've done a lot of thinking about how to create a future art piece based on what I've been learning in the design science studio with the whole concept of backcasting, thinking of an ideal future and then planning steps to get to that point. And so that was really inspiring, and I wanted to create an art piece that brought some of that wisdom into the community that I reside in. And so it is an organic map and emergent story of all the previously unseen connections and unexpressed dreams of the community. So essentially a large community canvas. It's also an intentional practice and resource guide for the present. So participants are asked to envision themselves in the year 2050 within Oakland and thinking about what does that future vision of Oakland look like for them. Imagining that they're in a space that everyone is thriving, that it is the best possible situation. How does that look? And grounding that into written form and then weaving that all together. Our installation is also recognizing us as leaders of our future ancestors and asks us to reflect on the wisdom and guidance of our past ancestors as well. And so this is bringing in more of the memorial aspect of the piece, both in honoring Nia Wilson, but also in asking participants if they have other ancestors within their community or their families that they want to bring forward in the installation, creating space to honor that and to celebrate their visions and to carry forth their message and their essence, even if they're not physically present here. There's also a living resource document on the participation form as well, so that people, as they're filling out their piece, they can go ahead and check out the resource document to see if there's any support that they may need or support that they can offer towards organizations doing local work within the community. That's kind of covered over here, but that's where that is. So as I was saying, it's a memorial to the past as well. It's honoring Nia Wilson. She was tragically murdered at MacArthur BART Station in 2018. She was only 18 years old. She was accompanied by her two sisters, who were also attacked. She was the only one who was killed, but this whole situation sparked outrage within the Bay Area and across the world. I was living in Berkeley at the time, and so a few miles away from MacArthur BART Station. And I remember hearing about this and feeling the sadness and the heaviness within the community, even though I never met her or didn't know her. And so it's very profound to be working on this installation almost a decade later in her honor. So speaking more about the memorial aspect of this installation, there was a previous vigils and protests after she was murdered at the station. And you can see here, this is an image of how the memorial at the station looked soon after she was murdered. As of right now, this is mostly not there anymore. So there's not really any way to commemorate her life and the conversations that were sparked in the community and across the planet through the circumstances that occurred. Over 68,000 people posted on Twitter with the hashtag #SayHerName, bringing awareness to the issue of hate crimes. And over 1,000 people participated in the vigil and protest the next day at the station. So to give some context about MacArthur BART Station, it's located in the median of the State Route 24, just north of its interchange with the I-580, perpendicular to 40th Street and MacArthur Boulevard. It has a total average weekday ridership of approximately over 186,000 passengers. That is for the whole BART system, though. There is not specific documentation for MacArthur BART Station or any of the specific BART stations that I was able to find, but it's recognized as a major transfer point within the BART system. It's also the largest BART station in the system, and it has only it's the only one with 4 platform tracks. I've used it since I moved to the Bay, and it's definitely a major commuter hub. And I've been living in close proximity to MacArthur BART Station, very close proximity for the past 5 years, and a little bit wider proximity for 10 years. And so this functional, interactive, regenerative art pieces design is most effective with frequent exposure. So thinking about a vision board or a way that we're backcasting from an ideal future, being able to be reminded of that and the energy that we've put into creating that vision, the more likely we are, the more able we are to create that through how frequently we are exposed to that. So we do want to put that into a place that we'll see, that will be constantly reminded and uplifted by that intention that we've placed within that art. See here. And the importance of accessibility for impact. So for this art piece to be at its most functional, it needs to be in a place that is most accessible due to that functional aspect of the art. But also accessibility is something that's really important to me as an artist, especially when I'm designing a public art installation. I want the public to be able to see that as much as possible and to benefit from that and to participate in that. And so this project integrates the principle of design justice, which is centering historically underrepresented voices within the installation's architecture. And so the center of the web has Nia's name on it, and within the radiating rings out from that, there will be voices that are historically unheard or underserved, and centering those voices in the web and in our aspirations for the future is really important in order to create a future that does work for all and that is just and healing and bringing us all to a collectively better future. And so there is an organization that is supporting, or it was founded by Naya's father, Ansar. This was back in 2019. There's a link to donate to the organization at the bottom if you would like to check that out. And the foundation's mission is to provide resources that will generate counseling services, housing, and employment for young men and women, with the goal to honor the life and memory of Nia Wilson and to do our part in making the world a better place for all. I think that's such a beautiful vision and mission, and has a lot of similarities to Design Science Studio in making a better future for all, especially for the youth and underserved populations that need support as they're struggling to find their place in the world. And so this is an opportunity to participate in this art installation. If you are not in Oakland, that's okay. Oakland is a global hub, and so your participation will still be honored and given space within the web, even if it's more on the periphery. And so I would love for everyone to check this form out, and also to give me some feedback on it. So there's a project improvement form at the bottom. This is a link to that as well. And I can put those links in the chat also. And the living resource document is also able to be located in the form. But yeah, this is a growing process. I feel like more than a destination, it is an action and a whole bunch of processes together. And so I would love for the participation in that process and the co-creation in this together, as that's the core intention with this. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Izzy. It's really lovely.
And I can put the link in the chat. Just give me a moment.
I think we got it from your call to action that you submitted.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I think I saw Spencer put it in there. So,
okay, great.
So great that you've created this layer so that people from anywhere in the world can participate, because this I was living in Oakland for 11 years, and so I was living there whenever she was killed, and I contributed to that altar at the MacArthur BART station, and I spent some time there with people, and it was something that folks participated in and rallied around from all over the world. So to get to continue that work and support her legacy and continue to bring awareness around this is so beautiful and such an honor. And yeah, just, I remember through a lot of the atrocities that we've lived through these last years, continuing from different families that encourage us to, continue to say their names and bring their life forward and bring their presence forward. And so their death was not, so they wouldn't disappear, and their death was not in vain. And to help to do that in your way is yeah, it's really inspiring to me. So thank you, Spider, for weaving these prayers forward.
I'm so grateful for this container and helping me to develop a framework to bring this offer to the community, and for all the things that I've learned and the supportive folks that have given me feedback already, and for future feedback, I'm hoping. So yes, thank you.
Celebrating you, Izzy, and it's been such a joy to have this opportunity to support you, and I'm looking forward to all that we will continue to weave. And thank you for all you're doing for the in-person summit. I'm so excited.
Of course, thank you.
And now I believe you will remain up here, Miss Roxy, as we invite Chelvanaya up to join you, so that we can learn a little bit more about her beautiful body of work.
Yes.
I need to find her.
I found her.
Okay.
Hi, Valenti.
Hi everyone. Hi Roxy. Hi Ari. Hi everyone.
And I will get a chance to introduce you. And it's been so lovely getting to know you this year in the program. Chelvanaya Maheras is a computational artist exploring synthetic emotion, multi-species ecology, and immersive audiovisual systems that connect human, non-human, and artificial life. And Roxy and Chelvanaya will have a little conversation about what she's building right now.
Thank you, Ari. And here's Valenti. Your audio is like a little bit delicate. I don't know if you can up your volume at all. If so, it could be great.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Amazing. Well, I'm so glad that we're going to get to have this conversation. I know that yeah, you're in the middle of this whole grant cycle right now and some other things that are coming up. And I just wanted to make sure we had an opportunity to dig in a little bit about what you've been creating, because it's really inspired and touched me a lot, and also a lot of the community. And I love the intersection of art and technology and the more than human world, and so I've had always a deep, dear fondness for your project, and for someone who might be encountering your work for the first time, either on this call or on the live stream, I was wondering if we could start by you sharing about what is the polytope of synthetic emotions.
It's for me, it's been a very hard research question. And you know, the polytope comes from it's a Greek term for poly, which is many, and topi, which is places. So many places together. And in mathematics, it's been used to describe how you can be in multiple dimensions. And it started with like an inspiration of mine. There's this architect and composer called Yannis Xenakis, who in the 60s, he created these both interior and outdoor polytopes consisting of like thousands of lights and speakers, and immersing like whole buildings with these different media, and creating experiences for participants to live within the space, this kind of like immaterial media transmissions. And also in my research, I've been looking into how to compose emotions artificially, mostly looking at physiological data from the human body. And you know, I just thought that, you know, emotions have been attributed just to humans and have been studied mostly from the like a very anthropocentric way. And in my humble opinion, it's like it's a global thing. It's not global in terms of human populations, but more of like Earth's population of species. So there are animals and insects and fish and all that can express and feel emotions. And you know, I'm interested in exploring what that is in other than human species. So currently I've been looking into monarch butterflies and their physiological data. So how can, you know, chemically we produce, how do they chemically produce emotions inside their bodies? And because they are an ectothermic species, so whatever happens to their body happens from the environment. It's the most direct contact we can have with how the elements of the world, like the sun, the air, the rain, how it can really affect how we feel and our actions and our thoughts, etc. So it's the most direct example for me to understand how can we attune to our environments better and more deeper, I'd say. So I've been exploring all this computationally, mostly using code, fabricating different like kinetic sculptures. And for this particular piece, the polytope of synthetic emotions, I'm creating an installation based on a map of the migration map that we've created based on tracking butterflies around the US and Canada and Mexico. And representing these maps with like kinetic sculptures that are being suspended from different from aircraft wires, and lighting up their phenological cycle, so how different generations of butterflies move through the seasons. So lighting up kind of different spaces in the world based on how butterflies are thriving during different times of year at each place. And
are there any specific species of butterflies that you've been studying?
Yes.
The monarch ones are the primary?
Yes. The official term would be Danaus plexipus for the monarchs, because they go into a roosting phase where they sleep for some time during the year.
And you said that so you've been the migration map moving between the US and Canada and Mexico, and since this connection has been one of the things that you've been computationally mapping, the phenological cycle, and understanding what are those patterns that seem to help them thrive, and what has that been teaching you about our relationship with their emotions?
Their sun, I've learned that they are chasing the sun through their journeys, and they love specific conditions, which also for humans are, the best conditions possible that we can live in, weather conditions, I'd say, or climate conditions. So they've kind of like genetically created a paradise on earth for them. So we'll be nomads, but we'll live in the best place possible. So I think like that has a lot of value in it for our human societies as well. I'm not saying for people to just live. If you live in a cold place, I live in a cold place. I don't say that this is a bad place or anything, and that there's no value in that either. But there's this constant movement which we don't any longer apply in our lives. We want to settle. We want to be in one place all the time, and we only travel for work or pleasure. Yeah, so I guess what I enjoy this nomadic way of being in the world. I think that can help us in many ways.
I love that. I'm curious, and you're starting to talk about this already, but in an effort to kind of lean into that, I'm curious how working on this project has changed your understanding of intelligence or consciousness.
I'll say something silly because that's a very big question. But I'm appreciating the world more because I see consciousness as some like a filter we use to make sense of our world, and for our actions to make sense as well. But the world is so vast and deep. So with monarch butterflies, I've started to observe a lot more. Like right now, I know that in my back garden I have like 100 different species of insects, and before I would be like, oh, just flies or bugs, you know. And or the trees we see in the world. Like we can't name every single tree in a forest we go. We just look at them and say these are trees, and put in these large categories. This is like the function, the operation of consciousness. So we make sense of space, of things, of people, objects. We have to build these big constructs so we can navigate the world easier. But when you start stepping back and look by like going slower or paying more attention to what's around you, you appreciate the world more and life more. And yes, you understand you're not just one species just moving around the world. We're so many, infinitely, an infinite number.
I think in that thread, you're illuminating how your deepening of this relationship has helped you shift the way that you relate in general to the more than human world. And that as your consciousness grows in relationship to this study and this practice, that it seems to me that it's helping you be more attuned. And so I wonder how you imagine the form of how this project coming into the world will continue that story for others and how it's been evolving. Maybe you can actually describe how someone might experience it for anyone who hasn't gotten to hear about it before.
It's hard to do without, like, I've been building physical models, like small models for everything I'm trying to put into this installation. But and I don't know if I should speak with pictures or I should just
If you want to, you can also describe it. Because I know like light and sound and code, it's all coming together with this biological data to illustrate these synthetic emotions.
All right, okay. So to illustrate the synthetic emotions, I have a nice demo. I can show that
Okay.
a little bit with like how light and sound is going to be translated. So I'm creating these bionic butterflies for my kinetic sculptures that flap their wings up and down, and that's what they're suspended into this kind of like map visualization through the space. And now I've been designing the biggest part is their wings for me, because they function like as their sensors to the world, like their ears, their eyes, and like they have a lot of different functions. Let me see here. Okay. And because I have to work in both worlds at the same time, I have like the physical world and the digital world. I have to simulate also the physical world, not just what's being like interpreted through data. I'll explain that.
Yeah, because they react to their physical environments.
Yes.
They are fully responsive.
Yes, and like for instance, this is just I still haven't gotten to the design of the body of the butterfly, just the wings, but I was looking into the mechanism, the mechanics that will drive the actual physical sculpture of the butterfly that's suspended through those wires. So if I move closer, you can see it's just like a gear system that moves up and down, and through these holes, that's where the wings go. But I have to like measure in real space, all the things that go onto it. So here, sorry if it's for the warning flashy images. All right, sorry for your eyes. Right, here you go. I have the wings here. And what I'm building them with are, I'm 3D printing some like soft layers for the shape of the wings that are transparent. And on top of them, I put these, if you look in my camera, I put these fiber optics where I'm going to like position on these wings and like shoot light through them, so I can get in real life the same effect as I have in the digital world, so in the physical sculpture. And they play, they move, and also inside their head there's gonna be a tiny haptic speaker where in order to make sound, it needs to be attached to something. So when I attach it in the head also attaches to the rest of the body and the wings. So what happens is the whole sculpture becomes a speaker. The sound is being transmitted through all the parts of the body. So I've done these tests, and now I'm trying to think of how this vein system of the butterfly that's been illuminated and activated through the sound that's coming up, it's also, what kind of sound it generates. It generates from the data of its body. So I'll turn the master down a little bit, I'll turn the sound down. And I've been building this synthesizer. This is just an instance of it, but it will change over time. And the sun is the main data source that I'm using. Everything that you're seeing is produced by the sun. Anyway, it's just I'm in a very deep production mode right now, and I've had so many prototypes that I liked, I pulled apart, so it was really hard for me to present a cohesive thing at this point, so apologize for that.
No, it's amazing. I mean, these things take a long time, and you're developing an inner mechanism. You're managing the data. You're figuring out like a variety of ways for the mechanisms to work. You're like understanding a whole other layer of the dimension of the story, which is the environment itself. And I'm already kind of imagining, and I don't know because you haven't mentioned anything about it, and maybe that's a good closing question because we're almost out of time. But yeah, you had mentioned that part of the dimension of this that you are hoping to bring to life is the environment that it's within. And so I'm curious, are you planning, and like in terms of the future trajectory of the installation, to sit more with helping people just to feel the emotions of the butterfly and the synthetic emotion through an environment that is a stable and happy environment? Or are you going to try to take a narrative journey that like pulls our heartstrings and like, you know, helps us to feel what they feel in terms of the impact of our changing world?
I've thought of like lots of different ways for doing that. I would love for the project to continue and like move into like different places and in different formats as well. And you know, I'm at the end of the day, I'm making a physical thing, so it's something that can travel, it can be shared, it can be felt, and you know, you can touch it, smell it, put it on a tree, hold it in your hands, have like a one-to-one experience with it. But right now, like my starting point into this project is bringing everything together as to encompass the whole idea, whole spirit of the project. But the starting question in my research was started from like looking into physiological data in the human body, and especially looking into the thyroid gland. That's like a regulator for our emotions, especially in women, inside of our bodies, and it's on our throat. That's why I keep pointing here. And it also, you know, has the shape of a butterfly, so we have like a little butterfly inside our throat, like constantly. And you know, a lot of also the human body like takes a lot of vitamin D for the sun, from the sun, and that also does things to our moods and to our thyroid gland. So by looking closer into the example of, you know, another species that has the same morphology as a gland inside of our own body, we can understand better how we absorb the sun through our bodies. So that's the whole. It's a metaphor. Like I'm looking at it symbolically, but I'm also speculating of some literal connection. And because like we say, for instance, like let's speak about the weather in like as a conversation opener, but it's actually a lot more important than for our well-being, and not just important, like it has so many threads in the ways it affects us in all the relationships we have and we crave and we make with the world and ourselves. So yeah, let's tune into the sun rays.
Oh, I love this project. I have so many new ideas also for some folks that might be supportive for different parts of it, and I'm looking forward to having someone one-on-one time to see where some of the prototypes are at, because I might be able to help connect some dots. One of my friends is that I'm thinking of, she weaves with fiber optics, and it like tells like stories through light, and I feel like some of her methods might be supportive for part of what you're doing, because of the way that it looks similar to what you're at least just like the weaving of the light through the fabric. And before I get into nerd out mode with you, I know we're a little over time, but just so celebrating this project here, Svalanti, and you, and excited to continue to see it bring what it brings into the world. And I loved having an opportunity to share with others some of the research and the motivation behind it and what it's bringing to light. So thank you so much.
I'll make sure to share everything with you, if that's okay.
Yes, please.
When it's done,
Please.
yes.
Absolutely.
And thank you so very much for everything. Like throughout this course, it's just like I still like I still need another 6 months to take everything in, from like all the different all the wonderful sessions we've had throughout this program. So I'll miss you.
I know, I'll miss you. It's okay. It's not over. It's a decade, right? Forever. But yes, it's wild coming to this particular threshold where we're completing this part of the cycle together and we're moving into the next. And Ari, I know we've had so many conversations about this too. Like, I just wanted to like stretch time apart because there's so much richness, and yeah, just super, super grateful. And I love this project, and I think deepening our relationships with the more than human world is so important for all the work that we're doing to unspell our separation. And yeah, just thank you, thank you, thank you. Here's Volanti. And there was so much sweetness coming in through people's faces in the chat, so I just kind of want to invite folks to share your voices if you'd like.
Thank you. It was great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, it's so neat. We've gotten to talk and engage on other things, and to actually really dive deeply into what you're tending on the daily is so rich for me personally. I really loved it. I can't wait to see it take life. And now I will invite two of our revolutionaries back up to the stage. You've seen them before, you've met them before. Malcolm Knapp is an engineer, teacher, and systems thinker and sense maker. He works across the boundaries of engineering, art, economics, and community, searching for integration. While Scott Edward Huddy is a civic educator, visual artist whose work blends systems design, policy, and creativity. Through the prosperity loop, he explores regenerative ways to circulate value. And they're both here to present the DSS Trim Tab Fund, a community-powered pool to fund regenerative projects. And they want your voice in shaping it. Gentlemen, I'm very excited to see what you have to share.
Wonderful. Yeah. So I will share my screen and we'll get going. Let's get all the things in the right place. Well, yes. So we're talking about the Trim Tab Fund. This is an effort of many people in this cohort, and so we'll talk about the sort of overview of this and sort of where we're at. And right now, as we said, we're interested in sort of feedback and input on development as we get close to actually trying to launch this at the in-person summit. So to start with, we will, like I said, many people have been involved. Thanks to Bobby for kicking off this as an idea and sort of getting the momentum going, and then for many people who gave us input. Roxy, of course, and sort of helping out on the administrative and sort of integration side. And so that was so all of that has made this come together very, very well and very, very nicely. So just want to thank everybody, and there's all the other people who sort of chimed in as well throughout the whole development process so far has been great. It's sort of nice to see all the interest here. So what this is really about is about self-funding. And starting with the idea of the community, the sort of DSS community itself, funding is one of the, I know it's a constant question that goes on. And I've, from my background in Finding the Future, it's been sort of come to the surface as a big part of one of the systems that has to work for us to actually create the future that we want. And so it really is about the key thing here is that if that part of the system doesn't work, then it's very hard to do the rest of it. A lot of the work that's going to have to be done is not going to generate revenue. It's not going to be something that a investor is going to be interested in. So looking at that and and looking at that question and that issue, this is what we've basically come up with. We'll describe the fund, we'll describe its structure, we'll describe the sort of the starting point that we have. But the overview is here, is that we want to use the community and to basically concentrate small monthly donations from the community, and then bring that back out to the community again to support the project work that has to happen. And then for that, the project work to then come back to the community and show how the flow of money has generated impact in the world. As the quote at the bottom, or says, we're looking at how can we make money regenerative? How can we change that system as well? Right now, the system of money flow is extractive. This is our investigation and inquiry about how to change that dynamic. So this is the top level. We'll get into more details in just a big second, but I think the big takeaway is we don't have to wait for anybody. We can start now, and as you will see, it actually will start having a pretty big impact pretty quickly. And so let's just do it. That's what we want to get to. And so throughout this whole process, we're interested in getting input, making this part of from the community. We're developing a charter for this. We want to make this from the community so that it can help support the community. So I'll pass it to Scott.
Okay. Yeah. So one of the things we wanted to show to everyone is this is really a new idea, that this comes from people and locations around the globe, and is really inspired by these practices. Primarily the Susu has been a number of people in our cohort have talked about how they've been a part of a Susu in their local community. And so again, this is something that's taken place in other parts of the world, and we want to honor. Yeah.
Can I interrupt you? Your mic is really choppy for some reason, and I would
My
love.
hearing is really choppy too, so I don't know. Is that any better, or
It might just be your headphones.
I can try and change my headphones if.
It might be worth it. I don't know.
Okay, let me give it a shot.
Okay, sorry to interrupt you midstream.
One.
So interesting what you're talking about. I just want to make sure we can hear you really clearly. No one tech checked you. You tech checked everybody else.
Is that any better?
Oh, so much better. Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. I got to turn my volume up here. Okay. So Malcolm, do you want to change the slide for me?
Okay. Yeah. So
could you repeat what you were saying about the Susu, just so we could hear that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, there's a number of people in our community in DSS who have used Susus in their own local communities, and so they've shared with us how those have worked for them and have been really valuable in contributing to this idea, this project. Great. So here's the kind of the overview again of how this would operate. We're proposing that this would take place on a monthly basis, that at the beginning of each month, we would collect contributions from participants, and that would create the financial pool. And from that pool, in the following weeks, contributors, those who contribute to the pool, would also then be eligible to present proposals for funding. And then they could become recipients of those funds. There would be a selection committee that would be formed, and that selection committee would go through those proposals and decide which ones met criteria and were able to be funded, or recommend which would be funded. And then at the end of the month, obviously those funds would be distributed. They'd be distributed as contractor payments through, I believe, Ritual, but we're still working through the dynamics of all of that. But those would be contractor payments to fund the work of those projects. And then on the next slide, we'll talk about this briefly. Yeah, Malcolm.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to just call out is that the selection committee would actually rotate every month as well. So it would come from the community, And then the next month it would be selected again, and it would be different people. And so there would be a way so the sort of that selection process would move around, and that's part of the dynamic we have. So
yeah, and it's also something that we're if we go back for a second, just it's the selection committee. We've looked at how to do that equitably, and we have a proposal for how to do that so that there are members of the Global South always available within that, as well as individuals from different bioregions around the world. And we've kind of done that for Bucky Fuller's Dymaxion map that Roxy recommended. So kind of use that as an inspiration for that as well.
But
Okay.
this is one of the areas that we're looking at that process, and we would love to get input on it.
Yeah, we have a number of open questions, and you'll see that here as well as I go through this. I'll try and point those out. There are a number of open questions for this that we have, and we really would like the community's support and input in helping to identify how we can answer or resolve or formalize those questions. So this would culminate in a monthly project festival where the recipients of funds, the active recipients, would join with the selection committee, and they would submit, or they could submit a video, and they would present what they had accomplished with the funds that they received. And then the committee, having seen what everybody had presented, would sign off on that. And that sign off just closes the project and allows the recipient to then be eligible to propose again within the group. We recognize that it might not always be possible to complete a project for various reasons. And a recipient would just be able to notify the committee of that. We're working on how to resolve that. Ideally, unspent funds would be returned to the pool. If that weren't possible because of hardships, we're working on the idea of some sort of reparation or repair mechanism, repair of trust within the community, so that recipient can remain eligible to receive funds. The idea is the idea is to witness and affirm what people have done in the community, and it's a trust-based system that we're working on here. We're trusting that the community will be able to operate and spend funds with integrity. So yeah, Malcolm.
Yeah. So what we are looking at, and this sort of getting into some numbers and sort of stuff like that. I mean, part of this is about generating a relationship and a sort of that connection between the work and the results of the work, and getting that to go. The way we're sort of thinking about setting up is we have this idea of participants and donors. One is if you're within the community, you can, within the DSS community, you can participate to receive funds, but to do that, you would also need to contribute funds. It's a monthly contribution, and it's for basically ever. The whole idea is that the work we're going to be doing will go on for a long time. And so as you choose what you can do, then you set it at a rate that's sustainable for you. One thing we are, again, looking at and trying to figure out is that amount on a monthly basis is different across the world. So contributions would scale based on the local economy. There would be a minimum of some kind, and you can sort of see a representative on the right side. This is just sort of an idea to give you the direction. This is also something we're interested in getting input on about what's appropriate and what's the right way to think about that, and sort of that the contribution is the same. Sort of Elle was talking about, like, the energetic contribution is equivalent. Beyond that, there's the wider community, and we're sort of saying that they're donors to the fund. And this would be much more of a standard a nonprofit or donation basis. And so you would again look at setting it up to go for the long term. I mean, this is trying to change the dynamic from a large amount once to a small amount forever. And then because that consistency is so important for this work to really have traction. So on the donor side, it would be a donation into the pool. Anybody could do that, even if they're in the community or not. And that would be a sort of standard tax deduction in that sort of way. So whereas if you're in the fund itself as a participant, then that's not a standard donation. So that would be much more of, it's a pooling of shared funds. So that wouldn't be tax deductible if you want to get into the details. The goal, though, is to set up this very consistent sort of amount that we always have available and is always, that can sort of lubricate the work that we want to have happen, to make it possible. So this is sort of what we're looking at in terms of, this is for project expenses, is what would be eligible versus personal expenses. That all makes pretty clear. This is the intention we have. This is supporting the work that will go out into communities and help their communities, so those communities thrive. And then, as Scott was talking about, the commitments we have is that this is a trust-based system. This is not about, like, we're not going to be wanting to check in and do audits and things like that. We trust everybody in the system to spend the money as they need to, and then to show the results back, to show that this is sort of what came of that, and that this is something that will go on for for a long time. That continuity, again, is very, very important.
This slide is just about kind of operational stuff. We propose that there would be kind of 3 groups or individuals that would be kind of the keepers of the flame, as it were. One would be the governance steward, who would just make sure that the charter was being complied with throughout the process. And that steward would be drawn from the pool of participants. It's an open question still as to how that process of selection would be made, so we're looking for input there. The operations steward is basically the holder of the bank account and the manager of the taxes and other things that have to be done on that end, and that would be somebody from within DSS to do that. And then finally, this idea of the rotating selection committee, the selection committee that would be the body empowered to decide which projects get funded. And again, we'd want this to be on a rotating basis. We're proposing 3 people to start with, but if the group gets larger, maybe we scale up to 5 or something of that sort. And then this is just a sample of what we could accomplish if we had 100 people from the community of DSS and beyond contributing $15 a month, basically less than my Netflix subscription, right? That we could pool maybe $1,500 a month, which would ultimately be $18,000 a year of DSS projects funded. And so that could be smaller projects, ideally that we'd be able to fund 3 or 4 small projects in a month. And if people wanted to submit for larger projects, we would recommend that they break it up into pieces, smaller projects that could be completed, and then reapply over time to help to see if they can get additional funding for that.
Yeah, so I mean, we had a good question in the chat. Daniel says non-financial resources as well. That also works. I think that's definitely a yes, and as you said, I think that in this situation, this is focused on on the money flow. That also is definitely, I think, can be weaved into this as well very effectively. And so if there are ways of doing that exchange, then that's definitely, we can have that going on as well. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, we do have also another document that lays out a variety of layers of different types of systems like this that we would like to look into and further. And one of those is this idea of a resource pool that's non-money based. It's other types of resources.
Yeah, so we're about to wrap up, but I just want to point out one thing here is that this, in some ways, that some details and some, it's getting sort of, but for me, this is in some way the pieces that need to connect. So, one of the big things about this is that, this numbers are really small but the actual total ends up adding up very, very quickly. And so I think that this is something that if we can start this off, it can have a big impact on the work that everybody wants to do very, very, and sort of immediately almost. So across the world. So I'm going to go on. Yeah, so.
A trim tab is a tiny rudder that turns the rudder that turns the ship.
Yeah.
Right? We all know that.
Yeah. Well, and so I think that this is the key thing, is that this is why we're calling this the Trim Tab Fund. We know this is starting small, but I think that, this is sort of what I was saying, is that this small amount can actually have a multiplicative effect. And it will unlock, I think, a lot of options very, very quickly, even this amount as we're talking about. And I know that the systems we're talking will, evolve and, will be moving into a system that is not based around, the sort of, some monthly subscriptions and things like that. But this is what we're starting with. And so from the very beginning, we're looking about how to make this into a regenerative flow and using the pieces we have right now. And so this is our starting point. And we want to sort of see about, how this will sort of the response from the community, and to see sort of how to get that any input that you have. So here are the steps we have coming next. We have the charter that we're sort of in development. As we said, there's pieces of that. We want community input. So you have our emails in there. There they can go. We'll go in the chat as well. And then we're going to want to resolve those issues so that we can go to the sort of release and present the charter at Regenerative Rising in-person summit. And then actually get community sort of approval of it and start getting initial commitments so that when we can actually implement this, and start distributing money by the end of the summer is our goal, again, this is going to get into some, the implementation, and, we also want support there. But the key thing here is to take a look at the charter. If you email us, we'll share that out with anybody who's interested, to see what that relationship looks like and to understand that, and then to make it something that we can all be very participate in. So, Scott, do you have any other things you want to comment on?
No, I think you summed it up really well, Malcolm. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, so we have, let's see here. We are basically at time. So I think, thank you very much. And we will end things there.
Bravo. It's so good to see this coming to life. I think Spencer might be your MC at this point. I am not sure.
In the run-up show, you were the one to introduce Harlan, but I can step in if you'd like.
I can do it.
Great.
Well, this is good because I really wanted to offer some gratitude and just celebrations to y'all, because I know we've talked about this, but for other people to get to hear it in the room and also on the stream, this has been a long time dream of the Design Science Studio to be able to actually construct something in this vein that really creates long-term, cyclical, supportive, regenerative funding flows in a variety of different contexts for the community that has come together through the DSS. And it has been also a really beautiful experience of letting life lead and letting energy guide, and just full trust of y'all's genius and passion and care, and just letting you go for it, and seeing how, you know, we can provide reflections or support, and from here, and to stand here now and see what you've created with so much integrity and really deeply you wove the input from the community that showed up to help form this and inform this. So it's really been created in this highly participatory way. And it's just, it's a special day. It's a special day for this to come forward. So thank you for all that you've done to get us this far. And I have a lot of respect for both of you. So just really celebrating this moment.
Wonderful. Yeah, it's been very
Thanks, Roxy.
work with everybody on this, and I'm very excited to actually get this to happen, and to start actually supporting all the projects that we want to get done. So
Yeah,
do it. Let's just do it.
find that good future. We're doing it.
Ready.
Amazing. Well, now we get to have another brilliant luminary of the Design Science Studio up here with me. Hi, Harlan.
Hey.
Nice to
And
have
thanks,
you
Scott,
back.
and thanks, Malcolm. You guys are like doing incredible work. So grateful to have you be in the DSS and everything that you're doing. And hi, Roxy. Good to be here.
Good to see you, Harlan. So just so everyone knows, I must share that Harlan has been a part of the Design Science Studio since the very beginning. And there have been a few years where we've even taken some down cycles. And Harlan, you're always just such a cheerleader, like, all right, where are we at? What are we doing? We're going to continue. We're in it for the decade. And the work that you've been doing, seeing it now in new forms and new collaborations with different members of the community, is just super inspiring. I mean, Govin's in India, and y'all are jamming. That video earlier was incredible. And you truly are a galactic transformation agent that is ready to collaborate across the world. And you've been opening portals to a new earth for a long time through your sculptures, and through your creative work, and the facilitation that you do. And now it's brought us to your virtual reality space. And so I believe that's what you're going to share with us today. Yeah?
Yep, thanks so much. So yeah, I'll try to keep this on point and on time. I know we're a few minutes behind now. So first of all, right behind me is the actual photograph of the 1111 diamond portal that I built for Burning Man in 2004. And then we're going to jump ahead to another real portal, 2022. And then here we are on the virtual playa. So I've been building these interactive portal installations for over 20 years at Burning Man, with the intention to create a space that participants can go to that would facilitate an evolution of consciousness. So I'm going to try to keep this talk on a balance between both the physical aspects and what they look like and what the shapes and colors are, but also the more underlying intention of them to be creating this transformative space, an interactive transformative space, and why having them in a virtual reality is actually comparable or a good use of virtual reality for this kind of design and interactive kind of experience. So before I start sharing my screen, I mean, those were some of the points I wanted to make. And let me just make a few more points before we dive into the tour. So in 2020, when Burning Man was canceled due to COVID, several different people stepped up, or organizations stepped up to create virtual reality Burning Mans. And here's a picture of one of them that it was different than the one I'm working with now. Just so you could see the difference in the looks. You could see the interdimensional space-time portal and this Heartstar portal that was never built compared to the look of this space. And so one of those spaces was called BRC VR, and it was built in a Microsoft platform called AltSpace, which Microsoft has canceled and has become defunct. So now the same people Athena and Doug are the heads of it, have created and launched just last fall, pretty much was when it debuted, something called the burner sphere. So what I'm going to share right now in the chat, and if you can't access the chat, it's the website is called steamvr.com, and then also in the chat is the link to the Steam app store to actually download the burner sphere. So what Steam is a virtual reality application that you need to run either on your computer or more ideally using your immersive VR headset. And there's hundreds, if not thousands, of different games or experiences. There's actually not just games, but there is experiences designed for conscious evolution, like things to breathe, things to meditate with, colors and sounds. And I was just learning about that. And that's a little bit more where my portals come into play, because it's not really a game and it's not just like going to Burning Man, but they're interactive spaces, like I say, designed for the evolution of consciousness. So in the Steam VR world, there's numerous different games or these types of experiences. So that's the only way that you can access it. But what I'm about to do now is share my screen and go ahead and jump into where you land when you go. Oh, wait, first make sure I share sound, optimize. Okay, that should work. Okay, so now you can see my screen. We've just landed in the center camp area of the burner sphere. And when you land there, like I'll back up, you land in this little area here, and here I'll do a quick turnaround. There's a billboard in front of you to explain what you're seeing. We're not going to read that if you ever come in here. And look, it looks just like you're at Burning Man. And there's a fire pit. If you go over to it, you could hear it crackling. Let's see, do I hear it? Oh, I turned my sound down. Give me just one moment. I need to turn my sound back up here. Master volume. Okay, let's see if that works. What did I do? Did it work? Sorry. Yeah, I did. Okay, well, anyway. Uh-oh. Sorry, here we go. I got to click out of there. Okay, here we go. And just briefly, just for the fun of it, we'll first run over to look at center camp. And just to give you an idea of some of the possibilities in here, when you go inside of a blue ring, it plays a video. So now you're going to see a real video of the Burning Man center camp at nighttime. I don't have any of this in my world yet. I don't have any real world video. But how cool is that? Okay, and if there were other avatars, you could see them. I'm the only person in here right now, but if other people, and just to give you an idea, here's my selfie stick. This is what I look like. And you see when I look around, you could see me in there. It's kind of like something I might wear at Burning Man. So it looks a little bit like me. Okay, let's get out of here and go back over to the world selector. I think that's where you buy your ice at Burning Man. The world selector, I don't want to waste too much time. I'm running, not walking. You have to go over to this thing over here. Where is it? Oh boy, the world selector. Okay. I wanted to give you guys a little tour instead of just starting right off in my portals so you understand the relationship. Eventually, I'm going to have my portals be accessed directly without having to go to the burner sphere. But here we go. You see this? And just to give you an idea, you see there's all these different worlds because you can't model everything at Burning Man in one place. It would overload your computer. So I'm running around the airport, all of these things. I'll go all the way around Naga. It's kind of interesting, but that's not part of this talk. Let's just go to transportals. Go. Takes about 10, 20 seconds to load the world, and we're going to jump out into where I have 18 of my portals. Now, like I say, I want to kind of keep this on point, but I'm going to kind of go through chronologically is how I like to show the portals, but also give you an idea of, see, I don't know why we jump.
Oh, did we lose him? Is that just me?
No, we're all having a brief pause in the desert.
Good old 1111 diamond portal. So this was designed on the, hopefully I'm not dropping out. I saw I had an internet instability, but am I
You're
still
back.
there?
You're
Everything
back.
good?
Everything's
Okay.
good.
Okay, 1111 diamond portal. I designed the shape in 1984 while studying the golden ratio. So it's all shaped based on the golden ratio, and then the color kind of came to me before I realized that the green is the color of the heart chakra. And when your heart rhythms are in golden ratio is when and people could sit up in here, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to just jump down and turn around, because you can see that's where the ladder, I hid the ladder on the back side of it, and so that started off all of the portals. It was a space for people to either lean against it or climb inside, and with the golden ratio and the color and the sound, like I said, I called it a key to shifting the earth into the next dimension. Modeled in virtual reality.
Yes. Harlan, will you do me a favor? Maybe while this is up, because it's cutting out a little bit, just turn off your video. Hopefully that'll stabilize.
Oh, yeah, my video. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Got it.
Let's try that.
I know. Actually, and it's more, you know what I should do also? Let me just quit my Firefox.
Okay. Right now it seems stable.
No, I know, but it is it's because of Firefox having so many tabs open, but you don't need to know that. I don't know if it quit it or not. I don't know what happened. Okay, but let's just see if it's stable. Okay, let's keep this show on the road, because I have a lot I want to share. Okay, let's zip along. So we'll just leave the Diamond Portal 2004 and 5 and zip over to what I came up with next, the 2006 installation, also green and based on the heart chakra, but now a cube shape. And I built it both in a steel outline that you can climb on, or this solid plywood version, which again, let's see, we could jump up inside of it. Let's see, did we jump up and we're kind of standing? Oh, I'm floating in space. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. Okay, well, anyway, you get the idea. They're really modeled pretty well to look like they do, and if there were other people here, you could be experiencing them together. So you get the idea that we're out here in the deep playa, and we're seeing these interactive geometric shapes. You can see this piece based on both a cube, but then dissected to have this cube octahedron, which is the 60-degree grid that Buckminster Fuller talks extensively about. He calls this shape a vector equilibrium, and we won't go into the whole geometry of that, but I do give talks explaining these geometries. So this was called, and the first one was located at 1111. Here they're just located like in a grid, but at Burning Man, I located them on the Burning Man clock. First at 1111, this one went to 1212, and now we're going to go out to 2007, the 111 Sapphire Portal, which was a 60-foot diameter, 10-foot high sky blue wall that then had this other series of geometries in the middle. That was a mirror structure that you could sit inside of, and again there was the quasar wave transducer making like thrumming, humming, vibrating sounds, and you could sit on top of this dodecahedron. This icosed dodecahedron relates to the evolution of the Earth's energy grid. So this is where I came to learn that the portals act as a multi-dimensional vibrational energy body alignment tool. And so just by experiencing these shapes, it would be a way to facilitate aligning your vibrational energy body to the evolution of the Earth. This was all sky blue carpet, sky blue wall, so you felt like you were floating in the sky and being able to interact with these geometries. Let's see, here we are. And so now we will continue off to 2009. That was there 2007 and 8. So 2009. Now this one, the sky blue relates to the throat chakra. So here we went to the indigo of the third eye chakra, but the inside is the green of the heart chakra. And this is a stellated dodecahedron, which is another shape that's a relationship between icosahedron and dodecahedron, similar to that mirror structure, which is called an icosed dodecahedron. The stellated dodecahedron, if you connect the points, makes an icosahedron. But again, this is a way to connect your vibrational energy body, these geometries, to the evolution of the Earth's. Let's see if we could jump inside of it. Not quite. I almost got there. If you have the headsets, like I think I jumped on top. All right, well, you get the idea. I don't have a headset, so I'm doing this on my computer. With headsets, you have hand controllers, and you actually have more control inside of the world. Okay, let's run on over to 2011 when I did this octahedron-based piece called the Octa Portal. And I've actually built a few of these for other events. It's based.
Yes. Just letting you know you're just about at your time for the presentation.
Well, I did start 10 minutes late.
Oh. Yeah. You can go a little longer. It's okay.
Yeah. They did jump into my time a bit, but okay. So that's okay. I'm gonna just run around and have fun showing you these things. We've got this one that was never built, so it's really cool to be able to experience something that was never built, an evolution of the diamond portal that's 5-sided, called the Heart Star portal. And so this is what it would be like to be inside of this shape. I don't have the ability to sit down to get the view like that, but what has been built and what I will be bringing and at Burning Man I put on top of my van is the Heart Star outline. So you'll be able to see this at Burning Man, and you'll notice that all of those hoops make heart shapes, and we'll jump up on top. So there's the Heart Star portal. Okay, I'm just going to briefly run over to this portal of the 5 elements that was proposed but never built. You can go inside of each of these rooms. There's supposed to be altars to each element. We haven't done it: earth, air, water, fire, and ether or crystal. And then there's skylights on top. So you can see that each of the skylights is based on the 5 platonic solids in each of the colors of the elements. Okay, sorry that I go so fast, but I kind of love just running around giving you 10 seconds of each one. This one was built for 2012, and hopefully I'll be done in just a couple of minutes to wrap this up. But this one is based on a rhombic triacontahedron, another relationship of icosahedron and dodecahedron. And let's see, well, we didn't quite jump inside, but that's okay. We'll just keep jumping around. So then that was 2012 and 2013. 2014, this was like the opposite of the sky blue sapphire portal, but I collaborated with this group from Texas that was going to built all these lotus hammock portals, and the sky blue, the earth, and this dodecahedron, and I built the wall to collaborate with them. It's called the 1144 Pachamama portal. And so let's just keep running around. We're going to run all the way across the playa to another proposed evolution of that turquoise portal from 2012 that we're just going to run right past. But it's kind of cool that these could be modeled and people could come and join you, and you could sit in them and kind of have this interactive experience of these colors, these geometries, and these sounds, either just by yourself to kind of experience the shape, or if anyone anywhere in the world could actually join you. Let's see, here we are inside of it. Like I say, I need to have the ability to sit down by getting a headset. So that was that stellated version of the turquoise portal, which is actually a compound of 5 octahedrons. Not proposed, but not built. Let's see, where are we running to next? Now, that same wall that I collaborated with in 2014 came back 2015 in a collaboration that's not here, but there's a wonderful video called the 1155 Reformation Portal. And then, as you can see, this is the outline of the diamond portal that was built in 2005, but it was brought back to be put in front of this collaboration here, where we had in each of the open bays a symbol and ribbons for each chakra. So this is the heart chakra, throat chakra, third eye chakra, crown chakra, and over there you'll see the other chakras, the solar plexus, sacral, and root chakra. And then there was a wind and solar generator, and again that mirror structure from the original sapphire portal. So this is called the Alcyon portal. I have this set up in my backyard here in Joshua Tree. Then, as you saw in that photograph earlier, but I'm so impressed at what a good job they did with the 140, that was at 144, and all of my portals have since been at 144. We can run up on top of this, and you could hear Maria's chanting, and you can actually run inside. And the symbols, we don't have the symbols lighting up at night yet, but you can see that there's symbols on the arches and rings. And if you go inside, whoops, let's see, can I get inside? Okay, I know I can because I've done it before.
I love that Julian from Design Science Studio also helped you build this
so look
one.
at inside of this is an inside-out Egyptian pyramid. This is the actual graphic that's inside of it. It had lit up, backlit at night, and the James Webb Deep Space galaxies lined the walls, and then there were all these cushions. So this is quite an accurate depiction of what it looks like inside of the pyramid. And then the cushion, bunch of cushions, and the walls kind of faded to this floating pyramid above you. How cool is that? So if you come to Joshua Tree, this is at the retreat center. Whoops, I got to get out of here. Here we go. Okay, that was in 2022. So now, quickly, we're almost done. Thank you for giving me the few extra minutes that I need to just give you this tour. I know it's going a little over time. This will be at the retreat and this is like the mini simple version of that Sapphire portal, the Sky portal. And this one, it doesn't have the quasar wave. It has Tibetan bowls playing in it. Oops, almost got it. Here we go. So just like floating in the sky with Tibetan bowls. And this is quite an accurate feeling of what it looks like. So if you're coming, you're going to get to see this in person. But if you can't, just get your VR Steam app and hang out in it virtually. Which brings us to, almost done, really quickly, where am I? I'm disoriented out on the playa like you get to be these days. This came out so good. This was last year's that was 2024, 2025. Oh my God. So what they did for this one is they took a photograph of one of the petals. This is the 144 lotus flower portal. Everything else is just computer generated, but once you go inside here, you're inside of the lotus flower portal. And actually there's supposed to be this Om Mani Padme chant, but they used the Tibetan bowls for now. And this was a cushion that was supposed to be this lotus flower seed pod. So I know people look at it like, why does it have those bumps? Well, that's kind of like what a lotus flower seed pod looks like. Okay. Thank you. Here we go. And then, just real briefly, I proposed this for this year's Burning Man, which is a combination of the Sky portal and the Alcyon portal, a lower golden ratio division. The lower section is the earth colored. Whoops, I banged into the wall because I didn't get to the entrance. And so the first big Sapphire portal was 48-sided. The Alcyon portal was 36-sided. The Sky portal was 12, so this would be 24-sided. Sky blue, upper half, earth-sided. So you get the idea. Okay. I'm going to stop my share and we're going to wrap this up. I hope that you guys enjoyed this crazy, over-the-top, frantic tour of what I'm creating. And I know I didn't get into too much detail, but all of these spaces are intended to be experienced to facilitate this shifting of consciousness. So not so much just like an art installation that's just like, oh, this is cool, and a sculpture. I don't know how to put that into better or more, words to describe that, but that is the intent of them all. And this is my foray into virtual reality world. The sky is linked to the daytime, the day of what it's like at Gerlach. So this is a photograph at sunset, but if you go at night, it'll be dark. You go in the middle of the day, it'll be full daylight. So anyway, thank you so much for this opportunity to share this all. And sorry that it took so much more time than planned.
Oh, no worries, Harlan. We actually we're this is a perfect time for you to share, and it's totally fine that you took a little extra time. I'm curious if anyone wants to give Harlan any quick reflections. There's a lot of love popping in on the chat. Feel free to unmute also as an option.
Thank you, Harlan. I look forward to seeing what's at the retreat.
Thank you. Yeah. This
Thank you, Harlan. And eventually, I love your geometries.
Thank you. Yeah, and eventually I want to work more with people who do VR to start to create VR versions of that for future city designs that can be interactive and experiencing those things, so that we can kind of experiment with how we want to eventually build them, but we can work it out, virtually quickly and easily, and then eventually, create future cities. So we'll see how that goes. But for now, this is available as a virtual experience. Okay, good to see you, John.
There's
good to see everyone here. Thank you so much.
Virtual city, Harlan. You're wonderful.
Truly.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Yeah, that's so beautiful to get to see your body of work all together like this. That's super cool.
Sorry that I kind of tend to overdo it, but
no, I mean,
got.
honestly, like you've been at this for so long, Harlan. I met you first as an artist when I was organizing the art for festivals, and actually the first time I met you was when I thought my sister vanished into eternity, but really she was just at your portal to the New Earth Festival and didn't want to leave. But then
those were kind of over. Those were concurrent.
Those are sort of happening.
I think we had worked with like LIB before, right around those, but yeah. And then, of course, and then in 2020, you were like, you've got to join this design science studio. And I kept dragging my feet. And then like a couple of weeks before it started, like, okay, I'm in. And now I'm really in.
You're a design scientist for sure.
I'm in for the long haul.
You are stimulating intentional creativity to support the transformation of humanity. It's beautiful. So thank you so much, Harlan. We appreciate you and excited to get to have your work at the summit soon.
Okay, thank you. Look forward to that. And thanks for all the great work you guys are doing hosting this online virtual event right now. Thank you.
I really appreciate you making your work accessible for people who can't get to it in person. And it's so lovely to see like the full body of all of the things that you've done and tended over, just such a venerable career.
It's I know it's a lot. Thank you though. It's kind of cool having them all out there all at once, even the ones I never built. So cool. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Amazing. Fabulous.
Quite.
Wonderful.
Splendid.
Splendid, darling. Well.
So, as we come to the close of our second day of the Regenera Rising Online Summit, we wanted to take a moment and share the full story and scope of the world of Regenera with all of you. Because Regenera has been around for a very long time and has been interacting with our world now for half a decade, a little bit more. But it's coming into more full form than ever in just a couple of weeks. Thanks in large part to the dedication and the care of so many of the people that you've met and heard from today. And so we were here to tell you the story, in case you haven't heard it before. The city appeared and, I skipped a slide. A protopia, as opposed to a utopia, which is unattainable and ecstatic, is a concept for an idealized vision of a space, a city or a society that improves on small increments. It might just be a 1% improvement, but over years and decades, it compounds to a tangible and everlasting progress. Many weird and unusual things happened between 2020 and 2021, but the global pandemic wasn't the most extraordinary, not even close. According to historians from the Green Book, at the beginning of the 21st century, in the first day of the fourth moon, a city descended from the clouds, a floating city propelled by advanced natural technologies. It was a technological wonder. The entire city was powered by the sun and the wind. The purest water ran through the streets, and canals and plants of all kinds, and all kinds of animals coexisted with the humans living in its packed and lively streets. It was a city like no other, a wonderful balance between technology and nature, where curiosity was virtue and kindness the law. A city that arrived at a pivotal moment for humanity with the exact thing that was needed: hope, and also a lot of knowledge to share. That floating city was called Regenera. The city appeared and disappeared at will, but they say it had many doors on earth through which you could enter, although no records of that time was ever explained how this was possible. The arrival of Regenera changed everything. At a moment in which the gloomy doom predictions seemed more plausible than the opposite, the city brought joy and hope and new ways to understand our connection with the planet and how we relate to one another. It taught us how to rethink our food systems, how to approach problems differently, looking at nature first. It brought new ideas and governance systems, new ways to celebrate and align with the seasons, new approaches on how to reuse things that still had life in them instead of dumping them to landfills. It brought natural ways to die and weave, new forms of debate, new ways to plant, to build, to write, to tell. Regenera was the ultimate representation of a new way of thinking and doing, some called solar punk, some called the regenerative movement, some called the last miracle. But that shared one thing in common, the will to make the world work for 100% of the life in it. The floating city was only around for a decade, and then disappeared as mysteriously as it had appeared, but its impact had ripples throughout the century and shaped much of what we are today in 2103. The reason we know about Regenera is because of the Green Book. The Green Book is now in a museum in Liberaith, the capital at the southern East bioregion, which is also where the Planetary Council resides and the core of our political system. Many of our ways of being, organizational and social structures, planetary councils, and definitely many of our rituals and celebrations we owe to the events that occurred during the Great Decade, since the arrival of Regenera and until its departure. A few of the elders who lived through those historical and pivotal moments are still alive today and pass the knowledge from one generation to the other through the book. The book was sometimes called Cooperating Manual for Spaceship Earth. Modern historians of 2103 and many books refer to that decade as the first one of our era as the Regenaissance. And so this is where I'm going to invite you in, Dandelion, to explore with us what it means to be creating a protopia together, what it means to be building in reality this story universe.
Well, Regenera is a whole universe of story. This protopia, this construct, this way to imagine. Regenera is our sketchbook. The future is first an idea, and so we practice spelling our way into the world that we wish to create. It's a place where everything fits, from spaces to people to projects to art to ideas, and its library is full of valuable books and insights, and its streets are filled with taverns and gathering spaces where incredible experiences are curated at any time. But what's most treasured is the people. It's like a port, a place that is open for ideas and newcomers. It's filled with doers and philosophers, with permaculture experts, land stewards, imagineers, anticipatory designers, artists, rebels, poets, polymaths. It's filled with us. And how it lives, well, it lives online, it lives in person, and we're about to open an in-person portal to Regenera. Currently, we're floating in the cloud city across the world, spanning time zones from what we've had people today, just alone today, from between India and Brussels, between the United States and Central America. It's been taking us through the portal into this place together online, offline, through artifacts, through projects. It's a tiny floating island and an infinite universe. This anchor that brings us home is our imagination. If we can't imagine it, we can't move towards it, because the future is always first an idea. And our stories in our society have been continuing to perpetuate some of the problematic behaviors and patterns. There are so many good people. There are so many good stories. And there are also very dominant stories. Some of those dominant stories are continuing to drive our separation from each other and nature. And it's time to reimagine our society. And so we are.
Every big shift starts with a shift in an idea. You can advance the slide. It's the recognition that until we realize what is possible, until we have the story to picture it ourselves, until we envision the future and then live backwards from that place, it's not possible. And our art very really is the intervention that allows us to seek and feel more possibility. I will remember for a long time Gigi's words at the start of this day that really allowed me to feel a different aspect to my relationship with my ancestry and those who come after me. And each one of you who are engaged in this work, is holding a very, very important part of that. And so we're calling everyone together now, because really we are facing a crisis of imagination in the world. You turn on the news and you listen to the loud story that is being blasted out of every tiny rectangle you can find. It's a monoculture. It's a monoculture of this pretend set of choices between blue and red, between Coke and Pepsi, between leaning one way and leaning the other way, catching us in this divide, when in reality the open possibilities for all of us are so much vaster and so much wider, as the true ecology of our life leads us to know.
And imagination is a muscle that you have to work out or it will atrophy. And so here in Regenera and here in the Design Science Studio, we practice imagining beyond what we might think is possible for ourselves, for our lifetime, for each other, and for the world, so that we can transform our future, our collective capacity to create it, to as Malcolm loves to say, to find that good future, we must first envision it. And as we transition from old systems to new systems, bridges are built from these into these uncertain futures. And we're moving from mechanistic systems to holistic systems, and creative language and design itself is sense making and truth bridging and coherence building. It's a language model that goes beyond words, creating shared experience, resulting in clarified and distilled messages to help us move more quickly and purposefully towards collaboration and coevolution. The power of art and design is a cross-cultural technology and language for systemic change. And through interdisciplinary art, we can transform the path forward, regenerate culture, the planet, and humankind's relationship with the living world. So we've created this incubator, this community of practice for art and design to help us move towards more regenerative futures together. And through this, create a world that works for all of life, tending to the story seeds, tending to the culture to shift the behavior and reimagine life on our planet in support of our creative capacity. The Design Science Studio is made of artists, designers, cultural producers from all over the world. And this gathering, this summit, is our 4th annual summit. And it's beautiful to really feel the vitality and viability of this community. There's so much wisdom in this space. And you are reminded that our diversity breeds resilience. And we're practicing that every day.
You, if you're on this call, you're a part of this network that connects designers and thinkers from over 50 countries in the world. There have been some 400 projects, 460 projects that have
60 revolutionaries.
Sorry?
I said over 460 revolutionaries.
And 350 regenerative projects that you have created in the time that you've been here. And in this upcoming moment, it's a space for us to both look at and reflect on where that journey has taken us, but really to look at what happens in the next 4 years of this design science decade, to look at where we want to go with our dear, dear network of creators and our limited but mighty pool of resources that we each carry within ourselves. And so we're headed to Hopland, California, to Gateway Mendocino, to this very, very beautiful pond with this magical dragon trumpet living there. And we hope that you'll get to be a part of it. And whether you're there in person or whether you're there joining us online, you'll get to be a part of it.
Because yeah, this summit, this 4th annual summit, online, in person, it is what it says here. It's a living experiment in regenerative culture. It's this temporary prototype where we get to enact the values and the relationships and the systems we wish to see flourish in the world. And we're so excited to get to bring it to land, literally on the land, to practice, to weave alongside this very historic moment as we're looking back and we're looking ahead. And through this praxis, really weaving and empowering and seeing how the different edges of what we've been created can take root to support our civic imagination and to give us the opportunity to explore the futures that we're creating together and live the interdependence that fuels life. We've been mapping. We have been mapping. We've been mapping the city, the neighborhoods of Regenera to this land that we'll be gathering in from July 3rd to the 5th. The different neighborhoods of Regenera. We have the 4 different neighborhoods that we were talking about earlier: the Village, Natura, Agora and Bucky's Lab, the Arts District, bringing forward our immersive theater and music and performances and workshops and places to literally practice and embody the futures that we all carry, and move from the independent being to the interdependent community and civic, to the scale of the planet, to be truly in service to creating a world that works for all of life and practicing interdependence. And I'm so excited because every time we weave Regenera to rise, it is brought together by designers and artists and volunteers and creatives and facilitators and builders, and we need resources to continue to bring it to life. And I'm so excited because just in a few minutes here, we have some friends joining us from an in-person event that's happening locally. And they had originally invited us from this installation that this photo is from to see if we could bring Regenera. And Regenera had already docked, so now they're going to join us here. But as we ground into what it takes to build, what it takes to create, what it takes to gather in this way, it requires a lot to stay in integrity with our values, to provide organic meals at a cost that is accessible to people, to have sustainably sourced materials that reflect the values that we hold, to have really solid zero waste systems, to ensure that artists and volunteer support and accessibility efforts through the site can actually align with our goals and ensure that we have this safe and thriving village across all different layers. And so if you or anyone else that you know might be able to support bringing this summit to life from July 3rd to the 5th, we welcome you, because a world that works for all of life is something that we create together. We hope you join us there.
And we really wish that we could have one of these in each and every one of the continents where you're all residing. But we'll plant this seed first here on the shores of California, and then get to fly the city in the future to Colombia and the Netherlands and the other beautiful places upon our planet. I just want to take a little moment to celebrate our lovely dandelion captain of this ship, the ship that has many hands and many crew and many lovely laborers. And I've seen up close just how deeply and full-heartedly you've been pouring yourself into this endeavor, because you really just believe so deeply in what it means to gather together. Yeah. We're all really, really grateful, as the cascade of floating, exploding hearts on the screen suggests.
Ah, yay! Well, it is with so much love and joy and belief in what we're creating that every moment is woven. And I love that we have some friends who are gathering people today in Oakland
right at
for
the perfect time.
yeah, for something that's called the Solar Punk Solstice. And so this is a really sweet event that's happening, bringing together a bunch of folks from the Burning Man community and beyond, to celebrate this way of being and living and playing. And yeah, so they've tuned in to give us a little bit of a tour of how Solar Punk Solstice is going. There are people dancing. This is so fun. Look at all these folks that have gathered. I know some folks from Design Science Studio are in person out there right now. And the site where this is at is also a super sweet place where a lot of artists and creative folks gather. So this event is I think it's in its second year. The one that we are getting the live stream from right now. And this is the second solstice that they have gathered to do this solar punk event, and it's just so sweet to get a little tour. It's cool. So in Regenera we have these little blimps, the little floating blimps that take us around from the city to the earth whenever we dock, and Air Pusher, which is literally an airship. Is the group that actually puts all this event together that we're seeing. And Vishva, I saw that you have your question. Let's let them give their tour because they're just joining us to give us this little tour of how Solar Punk Solstice is going, and then we can go back to talking about Design Science Studio and the Interdependence Summit as we're getting a sweet tour. Look at all these people gathering and talking. I know there's an unconference happening live as well. People making art. Oh my gosh, this is so precious. How lovely. Oh, so sweet. Jackie, thank you for this tour.
These unconferences are, in my experience, very opening, but also very unsafe for me.
Oh, interesting.
Because I give in completely to things.
Oh, sorry, Vishwa. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Jackie, did you unmute? Oh, we lost her. Well, we tried.
Can I ask you my question?
Yeah, for sure. Let's see if she'll come back, but we can chat for a minute. You were saying that you've had some hard experiences at unconferences before?
No. My stupidity has hard experiences.
Oh,
because
don't talk about my friend
I'm open, but my acts are also stupid. So sometimes when other people open up to me in these safe spaces, these sanctuaries that come together, and my stupidity acts out on them somehow, or some stupidity because I'm this shared responsibility of communally taking care of each other long term, but being that open that you are to community really happens in a short duration of time, then sometimes you create knots. So I'm just asking you, because you people have more experience about doing this. How do you deal, because you might have come up with these dynamics when you're trying to go that deep and be that open, and you may have created some distortions in the field. How do you deal with it later on?
You know, there's something that I've learned a lot in the Design Science Studio community, knowing that it's really international. So I speak English pretty perfectly because I was raised in the United States, but my father's from Iran, my mother's from Colombia, and we have such a huge melting pot of different cultures here. And there's a lot of care. There's a lot of time, actually. We spend like 4 hours minimum a week together, generally every week for 7 months. And so that is a highly curated cultural practice experience, right? And we're constantly in that together and learning a lot, and it's not perfect, but it's a pretty consistent rhythm where people are getting to know each other. The experience that you were just sharing, that you said that you've had some like I would not use your word of stupidity. I'm sure it's just like a different way of relating that has caused some friction in some of those environments. In unconferences specifically, which we've definitely been considering and wanting to have some space for in the upcoming Interdependent Summit. But one thing that I've noticed both in myself, both in the Design Science Studio, and also from some of my close friends who are very first generation from other countries and also coming into new environments, is that there is actually a lot to be said for different cultural perspectives coming together and then being super open and all of a sudden not necessarily hearing or feeling or seeing each other in a way that lands, and then some harm can be created or some tension. And one of the things that we've studied together is both like restorative justice, transformative justice. We do like nonviolent communication, just like different practices to try to hear each other and learn from each other and not leave or not try to escape the discomfort. I feel like discomfort is actually being able to be uncomfortable together is a really beautiful thing. And it's not necessarily the thing that most folks are designing for when they're trying to bring people together. But if it comes up, it's part of the village, it's part of a normal experience, you know? And so I think having part of the experience be open to that and to stay curious. I think one of our primary principles is curiosity, is trying to stay curious about what is the nuance and what is the friction that's coming up and where is it coming from, and do we have the capacity to stay with it, to see what we can learn from it. Less of an answer and more of an inquiry, you know, but I do think that it helps a lot to keep us from, you know, making any strong decisions that it is this way or that way. But really, when we're practicing this principle of being pluriversal, is non-binary thinking, really trying to take in a comprehensive design science is short for comprehensive anticipatory design science, which is starting with the whole, looking ahead, discovering through experience, and designing with intention. And that allows, I think, for a lot of surface area to learn in new ways together and find a path through different lines of sight from different folks. And none of this is perfect. You know, it's all a process. I think everybody is constantly trying to do their best. And there will always be tensions in when you bring people together from different places. But if the heart of it has care and a lot of good intentions, then generally speaking, I think that there's always a path forward where people can learn a lot from any time something like that might come up. Mm-hmm.
So there is something that I'm exploring for the unconference and the ecoversity space, which is alternative education coming together, which is that whatever happens in one generation, the next generation comes, the next year, whatever event comes, and it gets submerged. So it's like more like a delta where the flow is so much new is coming that sedimentation and a lot of old things which are really good get suppressed by what is coming new. And that is an exploration that how do you resolve that? How do you bring that into better, or how do you play with that dynamic as well, is something that I'm working on. And if I write something over it or figure something out in my ecosystems, I will also share with you somehow. I'll find you.
I would love that. Please do. Please do. Yeah, I think that's what this is all about. That's part of why we wanted to invite our friends who just came in and took us on a little tour of their events, right? It's like, it's good to see things like this popping up. And we want to support each other. We want to, as Amanda Sage would say, we want to link train cars, you know? And continue that path of like remembering that there are, what, 8 billion plus people in the world. The world needs more of this. It needs more spaces like this, more people coming alive together. So yes to sharing learnings. And what did John say in the chat? He says we work to honor our ancestors and learn from them. Yeah, big time. There's one of my friends, Tyler Hansen, who's been an advisor for Design Science Studio, shared with me a long time, like, if I'm not growing, I think I'm dying, you know, and it feels true for me. It's a constant process of evolving. That's why we call the Design Science Studio members revolutionaries with a capital E, and then they become alumni, which now everybody is. Now you're evolutionaries. Because we're, you know, it's an evolutionary container. We're evolving all the time. So yeah, it's such a joy. Thank you so much for wanting to share and be in that inquiry out loud. And yeah, we're reaching the end of this day together. And one thing that we had talked about is inviting people into their citizen development geo. And I wonder if we want to, I can pull up the citizen forum and give folks that as part of their fun work for the evening or the day.
It's wonderful. I love it. It's never a full-hearted summit without a little bit of fun work, homework to take with you out into the day. But no, this is our invitation to you for your arrival tomorrow to the summit, if you're joining us here, for your arrival to Hopland, if you're joining us there, to really feel into who you would like your character to be. We met today. I met for the first time Regenera's first picnic table, a deeply nourishing and sustaining force in the village, a very important role to have. But you yourself get to make the choice of what kind of character you would like to be. There are all possibilities are open. So if you'd be so kind as to share, here we have it.
Let's see. I have all these screens in front of my screen. Give me one moment. Try to get it clarified, and I will grab the link as well. Should we go through some of the background and archetypes, or should we just go straight to the form?
As you wish. I'm trying to find.
Well, I think this part is fun. So don't worry, our citizenship process is fun, and all it takes is your imagination. You can use this training guide to get your Regeneissance citizenship process started. After you've become a citizen, your imagination is the only limit. Well,
we encourage you to create your character, think about how you dress, talk, and what gifts do you bring to the city. Are you the steward of the famous futurist cafe where all revolutionaries meet? Or maybe you are the organic pastry chef of the little bakery. Get creative. We need all polymaths, makers, and regenerators on board. You are not limited only to delectable consumables. You can really do whatever you want. But first, let's start with the basics. Here in the city of Regenera, our society functions more closely to what you may know as an ecosystem. Each citizen of Regenera plays a unique role and independently contributes to the vitality, regeneration, and well-being of our thriving living system. We call these roles archetypes, and the groups of like-hearted individuals, councils. Many of our citizens fluidly move between several archetypes and share joint membership in several councils. Here's a brief tour through the archetypes and councils of Regenera.
The leprechaun. The leprechaun kin archetypes are science mythic spiritual beings. They know the secret lies within the rainbow, and that it's not just about a pot of gold at the end of it, but nature's genius in encouraging our ability to refract and reflect.
The poet. The archetype of the poet is embodied by those who can read the rhythm of nature. It is the gentle touch of the skin, the patterns of the leaves, the roar of the wave. Poets have enhanced sensitivity, and they are possessed by words.
The explorer. The archetype of the explorer is that of endless curiosity and hunger for exploring the roads less traveled, for living new experiences, for discovering new worlds.
The doer. The doer is the engineer, the builder, the one who finds the biggest joy in making things happen. Against all odds, it's a very pragmatic archetype.
The guardian. Those who protect the sacred, the silent, the quiet, the soft, the gentle, the vulnerable, the tender.
The scientist, an extremely logical archetype, the embodiment of the rational mind, the mathematically driven perception, it's the humble submission to nature.
The shaman. Not merely a sick man or a madman, he's a sick man who's healed himself. The connection between the spiritual and the physical world.
The philosopher. The archetype of the philosopher is that of balance and meaningful thoughts. Philosophers are those who see beyond and can put in words the human experience, or at least part of it.
The futurist. The future is always first an idea, and so embodying the futurist archetype means transforming oneself into a forecaster, a seer, and a creator of possible futures.
The heartist. The archetype of the heartist is one who has understood that nature's nature is that of creation, that everything in a constant state of evolution and disruption, of contraction and expansion, of life and death, and that art is the cohesive glue that keeps us together.
The trickster. The trickster crosses and often breaks both physical and societal rules. Tricksters, quote, violate principles of social and natural order, playfully disrupting normal life and then reestablishing it on a new basis.
The storyteller. The world is made out of words. If you know the words the world is made of, you can make of it whatever you wish. TC. This archetype is the most extensively embodied since we are made of stars and stories. It is, at its core, what defines us as human beings.
The nurturer. Disregarded for so long. In this new era of the Regenaissance, the nurturer is one of the most valued archetypes. It's the embodiment of service. Some may call it seva, of being devoted to others and their well-being.
The artisan. Similar to the doer, the artisan is less motivated by selfish motives, since what they create is done exclusively for others and their enjoyment. Scrupulous in their ways, they share a lot of characteristics with the artists.
The empath. In a world where feelings are not something to hide or run from, the role of the empath becomes very important. Hypersensitive beings capable of feeling every emotion of the other. This archetype helps others figure out their fears, their tribulations, the range of emotions they're feeling at a precise moment.
The weaver. Those who steer and promote communitas, one of the most fundamental values in Regenera. The cross-pollinators, the weavers, the connectors, the guardians of everything that is sacred about community.
The teacher. Here in Regenera, we are born to learn, but also to share that knowledge. Everyone is a teacher and a student.
The healer. Those in this is the role of the doctor, but also of the psychologist, of the masseuse, of the singer. The healer is the one who heals regardless of its tools.
Oh, and the outcast.
Last but not least.
Last, definitely not least. This one's name has been evolving lately. The belonger. All those individuals who don't want to adapt, who refuse new codes, who didn't abide by new ideas. They were named outcasts, but they lived outside of society, out of community, usually attached to the rules of the old world, but their choice was respected. And whenever they wanted to become part of society, they were accepted with honors and celebration, with a powerful initiation ceremony. So, the councils form across many of these alliances, interdependences, shared interests, curiosities, and they weave the citizens of Regenera together in a vast web of interbeing. And so here are a few of the councils to gather a sense of place. There's the Council of Story. This council is a space for storytellers, futures, artists, shamans, and poets, the guardians of imagination, possibility, and wonder.
The Beamers, the backcasting evolutionary alliance mediums of the Council of Confluence, where the past, present, and future merge into the eternal now. Beaming Regenera nurtures the story seeds of a multitude of heartfelt perspectives conjured by the revolutionaries of the Design Science Studio, channeling the Regenaissance and our shared sense of being sphere.
Natura Mystics, a space for healers, shamans, nurturers, poets, and empaths to explore our shared connection to nature, honoring the wellness we receive from our direct connection to natural ecosystems.
The Agoraphiles. This is a space for the revolutionary new sphere, a place for deep conversations about art, philosophy, anticipatory design, science, synergetics, and other things. This is a space that remembers and honors the work that schools like the Bauhaus did and the tremendous impact they had in society at all levels.
Bucky's Lab, the incubator and makerspace of Regenera. Here you'll find all kinds of incredible projects aligned with Buckminster Fuller's ideas and principles, as well as the most varied group of systems thinkers, synergists around the world, and smart nerds. Please don't look, touch, or ask questions. This lab is for imagining the future. Just kidding.
The Regenaissance Cabaret. If you came to the Regenera Rising in a gray area, you got a taste of what it's like when a bunch of revolutionaries get together to create a cabaret. This is a place for magic and entertainment. All kinds of performers have gone through its doors and performed in one of its 1,000 rooms. The cabaret is like a labyrinth, full of secret corners and passageways. One never enters and comes out from the same door. It's a journey to discover the immersive art of the Regenaissance. Life is a cabaret.
The Vision Train. Choo-choo! All aboard. The Vision Train cruises through the art district and is home to the artists, artisans, makers, musicians, and creatives of Regenera. And actually, speaking of the Vision Train, we have the captain of the Vision Train who's just teleported in from
Choo-choo!
Wait,
Amanda!
Burner Stop Border Summit at Fly Ranch. Would you look at that?
Here we are, reporting from Fly Ranch Station.
Hello.
We have done it. We've made it to the future. We've landed the spaceship, and it's time for the next leg of the journey.
Tell us how it's going.
How's it going?
Yeah, show us around.
Let's just call it, we say choo-choo. I'm going with it's juice.
Juice, juice.
They told me I could wash dishes, and so I'm in. I'm on the train. Ooh.
It's happening. We're on board. Want to see the kitchen?
Yeah, show us the kitchen.
Oh.
This is so fun. We got teleported into 2 space stations. Look at all these people hanging out doing regenerative shenanigans together.
Eating fruit, taking care of each other. And we're going to burn a man tonight.
Ooh, it's so green.
It's so green. It rained. It rained yesterday.
It rained yesterday?
Yes. All day yesterday. And out there is a beautiful sauna. With some Greg Fleischman.
Greg Fleischman, yep.
Yay, hi Harlan.
I know. I don't know. I've never been to Fly Ranch.
Not yet.
Boy, not yet.
It's a good time. Greg's planning on bringing one of his pieces out to Regenera.
This is the first permanent installation, I think. And then there's also the Moonlight Library out there.
Who was created by one of the Design Science Studio members.
Out there.
There it is. That was Aaron from DSS coheART 2. And their crew, of course.
And then out here, there's a man. He's a little bit.
That you're going to burn.
40th anniversary.
And didn't the man originally burn on the beach on the solstice? Was it solstice though? It was before they moved to the Labor Day weekend?
In 1986. So it is the 40th anniversary this year of the first man being burned. And that's why this 40th anniversary at Burners Without Borders is happening to commemorate. Oh my God! Look, a little person.
And did Greg actually?
I'm glad we caught that one on the live stream. That was fabulous.
Is Greg actually there with his installations, or did he just send a team?
Yeah. You want to say hi to Roxy?
Is that David? Oh, and Annie. Hi. Oh, I love.
They're on the train. They're doing the virtual summit.
Choo choo. I love you. Oh, yay, cute. Look at your tiny little blue car. Hilarious.
Yeah, we miss you all, and we know that we're all linking in, in the multiple stations, doing the work. And
it's so magical, Amanda, that this is the moment you teleported in, because we literally just had a link in from the Solar Punk Solstice in Oakland that's happening right now as well. And then we did a little onboarding to citizenship, and then here you came with another train station right on time.
Right on time. Well, it was the first time I hooked in. Thank you, Larry. Yeah, awesome. Everything's working out, guys. Just keep doing what you're doing and doing the work.
Yeah. I'm excited that you got your flight.
Yeah, I'll see you soon. Somebody asked me, we did a little vision train workshop today, and they asked, there's like, so when is the next station? And I said, well, it's in a couple of weeks for Interdependence Summit in Hopland.
Right.
So, yeah, it's
Yay.
happening. So,
oh, we got some other friends coming up. We got Harlan, we got John, we got Marina.
Yay!
Also on the same time scale as you.
Love y'all.
I'm on the virtual playa.
So fun.
I'm so glad that you joined us in showing this. Thank you so much, Amanda. Love you, and this is so great to get a little virtual taste of Fly Ranch. Thank you, thank you.
Love you so much. Well, I hope that the burn goes beautifully, and we've been holding it down on the train. We're just literally reaching the end of our second day right now.
Timing. It's all about timing. Gotta just keep showing up and trusting.
Yep, that's right. Keep showing up and trusting. Tell us I don't know, a special moment that you've experienced out there.
A special moment experiencing out there. Well, we just had the sweetest little vision train drawing jam, and the children just blew everybody's minds. And that's the way it should be. They hijacked the train. And last night it rained really hard, and yesterday, so we all pivoted from doing other things and had a party in the sauna, and it was incredible. And then
that's where my Burning Man name came from, was the party in a sauna. In that sauna at Fly Ranch. That I started that party.
Is the food, the food that's being grown out here, and the stewards that are coming together to develop these programs for food systems at Burning Man, and greening Burning Man, and all the plans. The trajectory is aligned, and it feels really natural, and it feels like a coalescing of visionary characters and real heart-led, beautiful humans that are proactive. They're the people that do shit and follow through, and that is what we need right now more than ever, is for people that are going to do impossible things, make them possible. And so it feels like such an honor to I want to talk with everybody. I wish we had a whole nother week, but we're all just planting little seeds, and fueling up. And that's what you guys are doing too now. I know, like tanking up the inspiration to continue in the hard times. And remember that we got friends. And making friends is super important. It's a relationship.
Oh, I've never thought of that. That's adorable.
I got my character hat on, so you know I'm doing what I do best.
Oh,
Which
I have my. I've been wearing mine in your honor periodically throughout the day. This one's from Samantha Sweetwater.
oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Choo choo.
Choo choo. Party on, crew.
Party on, crew. Love you, Amanda.
Love you.
Mwah. Well, folks, we were about to get to your assignments here. I'm going to give you your citizenship form. So now you are well inspired and aware of your fun home fun. What do we think? I'm gonna put it in the chat. Boop. Okay, so last step for your citizen. I think the most lovely part is reading people's citizens backends. We have hundreds of citizens that have done this. It's really quite wonderful. So you tell us your name, your Regeneron name. You can be whatever name. My name changes periodically. Now I'm trying on Starseed Pumpernickel. Today I'm Dandelion. Often Roxy, but we'll see. We'll see who else wants to come through. Geo over here, self-determined, appointed theater director of Regenera. Very good. Use some words to describe yourself. Tell us what your archetype is. You can even make a very cute little Regenera citizen badge, and you download this little template. And when you open it, here I'll do a little. You can put your little face in one of these, and you can make your own as well. You can make one up. You're like, none of those are me. You can make a new one, which is quite fun. And your pledge. So what do you pledge? Today we started with a declaration of interdependence. And so here you say what you pledge, and what you're doing to help create a world that works for all of life, creating, nurturing, evolving, growing. And this is where you share, I vow to protect nature. I commit to making the world work for all of life, or I will make people happy through my music or art. And these are some examples. And I'd say for funsies, I invite you to wear something fun. Get in your solar punk character. What do you think? What do you think, Gio? You're the theater director.
I think that is a wonderful invitation. Invite you all to truly have fun with it. Let it be an expression of whimsy. Let it be an expression of joy. Let it be an expression of good wardrobe and sensible hat attire, as at least 3 of us on this call right now are exhibiting.
Marina, what's your Regenerous citizen outfit like?
Well, I must say there isn't much, but it is like, for sure, I would have something like embroidery or, something like animal text, like pattern. Yeah. I
Very
have
good.
a vest that I made that it exactly like I'm saying, and it's even with leather, and it has a rose embroidery on the top of a texture of a leopard print. And yeah, I would have that on for sure.
I love this. I love embroidered things. So colorful. Thank you. All right. Anyone else feel called to share before we wrap and you go forth and do your fun work? John, I see you. I see your beaming face. Tell us.
Yeah, I'm going with a combination of magicians, taking Ari's top hat and grabbing a cloak and grabbing a poet's shirt. And I have a hoodie covered with incantations.
Wow. What kind of
So,
incantations?
oh, it's from one of my favorite bands, Beats Antique.
Nice.
They have wonderful music, and I'm going to be rocking some Magic Shelter shirts. And it's 3 days. It's going to be 3 different people.
Yeah. I love that. Oh, look, we have our DSS family joining. Look at that. Look, and it's an Eva.
Everyone.
Wait. I just found these two.
Time for the barbecue.
Oh, good. We're just wrapping our second day. You look so happy.
Hosted a whale experience.
You hosted a whale experience? How'd it go?
It went so well. We were packed. People stayed for like 45 minutes afterwards to talk. It was great.
Yay!
Things they could be doing with their time. So it was great.
So many little sparks and
So many.
ignition.
Yeah.
Connection and yeah, I was just eavesdropping. You know, it's like the way it is. You're like, oh, I want to be there, and I want to be there, and I want to be there, and I'm so and yeah, grateful for all the things that I do not know.
Yeah. We're gonna go bless some beeswax.
Cool. That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. Mwah. Well, I love y'all so much. This has been a beautiful day. We are concluding the second day. Thank you for being a part of our completion. And we will see you all mañana. I'm going to turn off the live stream. Thank you, Tutu, to the Vision Train and all our friends.
Thanks, Roxy and Ari and everyone else who made such a great day today. Tomorrow, I'm quite busy with other things. I'll be able to join in later in